was the save of the season.
And for the Hawthorn Football Club, their season has a pulse.
After the lunge that dodged the bullet, Hawthorn are 2 from 8.
Rioli runs in, and that might be the coffin nail.
And at last, there's a bit of fire in the belly.
Jackson. He's put Jackson down.
To suggest that the underperforming Hawks can still figure in shaping the finals. But these Blues are hot. They're fast. They're fearless. They're kicking goals. They've got a genuine ruckman. And they've got the man. Chris Judd's mental strength makes his teammates stand tall. His brilliance under pressure is the difference between victory and defeat. If the Hawks are to spark a revival, they must find a way to silence Judd.
Interesting game, this one. Sunday football at Etihad Stadium this afternoon. Carlton against Hawthorn. Carlton in terrific form. Hawthorn in the news. Now, can that fire them up, do you think, Tim?
Well, they've been criticised roundly by just about everybody in the media this week, so I think it can. And they got a win last week. It was only just a win against a side that hasn't been able to win, but you've got to start somewhere. And Al Clarkson's been talking him up during the week.
Hawks have made 3 changes. A bit of experience back today.
Yeah, and a little bit of excitement too. Ryan Hooper into that side. Thomas Murphy will come in to play as a defensive player. Osborne, we know what he's capable of doing at the other end of the ground.
OK, and 3 changes too for the Blues. It was 2, but a late one. Anderson replaces Houlihan.
Yeah, and they've lost a couple of tools too, which is critical going in against Hawthorn today. Waite and also White out of that side. Mitch Robinson, who can actually play as a defender. Henderson, who can also go as a key forward to a key defensive post. And Anderson comes in for Houlihan, that late change.
So Buddy wins the toss. Blue skies overhead, roof partially open. Big day here, terrific crowd building up for Carlton and Hawthorn. They've got a lot of tradition, these two. They go back a ways. As we go down to Matty Richardson, and Richo, where do you reckon the Hawks have got a chance today of maybe pulling off an upset?
I think they can pull off an upset if they can get the ball into the hands of their pacey players. Guys like Rioli, Peterson, Hooper's back into the team. Clinton Young, who was fantastic in their premiership year. Get the ball into their hands, get it into Franklin and Roughhead quickly, give them one-out chances. I think the Hawks can have a win. I think Buddy's due for a big one. The roof is partially shut down here today. Not sure why they just don't close it right up. It's very tough for forwards down at that Coventry end early in the game. Just shut it up. The roof's there for a reason. Shut it, I reckon.
Interesting, I think they've got it the way they've got it because of the top tier on the outer side and the scoreboard, which were completely washed out yesterday because of the sun, and the crowd, of course, looking back into the sun. So they've gone partially today. The partially closed roof, Tim.
It's a partial eclipse. That's right.
There's Judd and Cruiser. Tim's still working that out, but he'll be with you. Don't you worry, Dennis. Talk to us, Tim.
I'm just working out the the technology attached to all this.
What, the roof or the microphone?
Well, I'm not in charge of the roof today. Richo wants to be in charge of the roof. But I think it makes it difficult for... I know it might make it difficult for the patrons watching the game, but it certainly makes it difficult for the players too when they move from the shaded areas into the light areas. Sewell in the centre bounce alongside Mitchell, alongside Hodge against Murphy, Carazzo and also Judd. That is oozing with talent, this first centre bounce.
Umpires this afternoon, Wen, McInerney and Mollison. Down Stratton from East Perth in Western Australia, trying to find a home and defence for the Hawks as we start this one. Umpires in red. Cruiser was high, tapped down by Renouf, who goes after it. Mitchell's in there as well. He's had a tough week. Oh. Gets tougher.
Out in
Have
there,
another
Mike,
bounce.
please.
Looks like Armfield's gone to Burgoyne as well. He gets the job generally week in, week out, and one of the better playmakers in the opposition side.
Sam Mitchell put in the spotlight by a few ex-Hawks. And captains of 1 or 2 other clubs as well. Knocked out again by Renouf. Taken by Murphy this time. Gets a hand pass back to the big guy. Couldn't hang on. Judd gets a hand pass to Scotland. Back to Judd. Breaks away. Not his best kick. Found a man, though, effective. Carazzo's got it from Armfield, but the kick not a good one, and it goes directly to Guerra.
He's got the job on Garlic, Guerra. Their matchups are fascinating on the smalls for the Blues.
And in the midfield too, Carazzo's gone to Sam Mitchell.
So Peterson's long ball got over the top of Cruiser. Then built forward Renouf. Over the top, Hodge, good handball. So Hodge to Osborne. Lovely looking kick off the boot, but just no Hawk could run onto it as we go down to you, Matty.
Very interesting matchup early. Bryce Gibbs has gone to Lance Franklin. I thought maybe Thornton, but they've gone with Gibbs. They show a lot of faith in Bryce.
Well, his football education continues.
Cruiser tapping down. You were talking to me about that off air a moment ago, just how they've handled Gibbs and how well they've handled in the Blues.
Mine knocked in by Hawthorn player, I'll have it. Thanks, sir.
Are you surprised that Gibbs is on Franklin?
Yes, but I was wondering who they might play him this afternoon. I mean, they're giving him a couple of big assignments already for a young man, and he's shown a lot of maturity.
You can see the contrast in size there, though. Although Buddy doesn't take that bigger overhead mark for a man of his height. Wonderful in every other regard. And as I said earlier, having a pretty good season. Joseph got it out to Judd on the outside that time. Henderson to Johnson. Johnson runs to the wing. Poor kick, though. He was looking for Yaron. Intercepted by Gillum. Goes across the ground. Hodge has got it. Hodge lobs it to Osborne. Now he can run inside the 50. They stayed off him. Bad defence. Osborne kicks a goal.
He could have had two in the early part of this game, Osborne. Really, he didn't show enough composure the first time, but this was a wonderful kick. Back inside, Hodge has already been busy in the early part of this game. Then they found the space on the opposite side. But Osborne's been such an important player. Back in 2008, their premiership year, I remember reading a column written by Mick Malthouse about how he believed that Osborne was probably one of the more important players back during that time. Kicked 27 goals in 2008. So they'll be loving having him back in the side this afternoon. They're starting to just get their best talent assembled finally, Hawthorn.
It's a good start, Hodge. A couple to Osborne, and Osborne then delivering. And now Gibbs goes to Osborne, and Jamison goes to Franklin. So a bit of a turnaround here. Franklin's gone deep, so Jamison gets the guy that goes deep, doesn't he? Hodge again. So Hodge and Judge. We've talked a lot about Judd, I should say. We've talked a lot about those over the years out of that one draft, haven't we?
There's been there was some talent that came out of that draft.
Sure have. And a lot of discussion about who should have been one and who should have been three and all of that.
The debate over the 1, 2, 3.
Play on call. Cruiser went to ground.
Look at the players around the ball here. Both sides bringing up their half-forwards to these stoppages in the middle of the ground. So when they break, if they do break, both teams are going to have so much space to operate in, although we see now Hawthorn dropping Murphy back across half-back on his own. So Carlton will have to slow a little bit when they go forward.
So Saul and Judd and Mitchell and Carato all together there. Rioli couldn't find it, and then he's given a free kick away. It's 50, gee. Oh, for this. Well, he threw the ball up in the air slowly, but as he always does, he found his target, Cyril.
Pass to your teammate. That's not how you would pass. No, that's Mark.
So Joseph's going to have a shot for goal. I think he doesn't kick goals too often. He's kicked 3 in his career, none this season. He probably has about a half a dozen shots a year. He's going to get one here, a bit of a gift. Well, that hurts, doesn't it? From nothing comes something pretty big.
Just watching this again. There's the free kick and there's the throw. And, gee, that was tough because the ball did go back to him. It just didn't go on the right trajectory.
Well, as I said, he always finds the target, Cyril.
So that 50-metre penalty was for the fact that he gave the ball a bit of elevation.
You wouldn't throw it back to your teammate like that. That was the explanation.
Well,
that's going to be unbelievable. I mean, if they're going to do that, let's make sure they're consistent. How?
Umpire Mollison, obviously a time and motion expert. Because had he tossed it directly at him, chances are he was so close he couldn't have caught it. It would have finished up on the deck.
Oh.
The goal apiece doesn't matter. Well, it does.
It does.
We don't care. They do. Mitchell gets boots the ball down towards half forward. In front skipper, left it behind though. Paddled across half forward by Hooper, worked off the line of the ball. Brilliant pick up by Russell over the shoulder. Franklin's got it though, gets away from Gibbs, pops it down towards full forward, off hands, strong tackle on Russell. And the umpire decides to ball it up.
He just pulled his kick at the last minute then, but he was well within range and he saw the mismatch in height. and decide just to put the ball up in air. He would have been better off having a crack at it.
Too many selfless players in footy today, Tim. Taken now by Jamison. Jamison is dragged down. Another scramble around the football. It was almost out. On his knees, trying to ferret it out. Murphy. Now, is that Young? I think it might have been on the other side of the pack. We've got a whistle, have we, before that? No, the umpire is playing the goal. It was Hooper who got the goal. Hooper got the goal. And they lead by 6 points.
Great pressure then, great forward pressure here from the Hawks. Just disallowing Carlton give the ball out there quickly. As White's put his hands up in there, he believed that he actually touched that one. But Hooper, he's an interesting player, Hooper, because he's showing glimpses over his time with the Brisbane Lions that he could be a key type forward, a midfield type player. Not sure that he's ever got his body really fit enough to play in the midfield. Never been a high possession player, but that's really smart player on his behalf. In fact, he looks like he might have a little bit of pudding around the tummy there.
Pudding.
A little bit of pudding.
Missed 6 games out of the AFL. Played the first 2, Hooper, against the D's and Geelong. So 2-1. Judd out of the centre. Good stuff by Guerra there. That was courageous. Cruiser was coming and had some momentum up. Birchall clever to Brown to Lewis. Terrific smother. We see so many smothers, I reckon, in footy these days. Murphy, it was a neatish kick, and then Garlett's tackle was very effective. Hodge comes in to help and gets to Garlett now. Garlett throws it out. Judd, it's out of bounds. It'll be a boundary throw in. I don't keep the records on smothers, but I reckon I've seen more this year than I've seen in any other season.
All the defensive acts in football have improved.
It's a good start to this one. Hawks, why wouldn't they be? They're up. Hodge, Lewis, Whitecross back to Guerra. He's the #1 in the AFL at rebounding from defensive 50. Hooper should have taken the mark. Russell, Thornton clever to Johnson.
Johnson goes across the ground, getting back and doing nicely there. Knocking it down was Young. Robinson goes in. He's the man with the football now, tries to feed it out. Carazzo came to him, almost an involuntary action. Robinson rejoins the battle, and we'll have a ball up. Where the light meets the shade. Interesting start. Renoff knocks it down. Murphy slips a hand pass away. We've got a whistle. It's coming back to Ellis, who was taken high. Xavier Ellis looks down towards half forward. High ball. Leading back now is Thornton. Had it knocked away, though, by Franklin. Just trying to see who was playing on Franklin in that exchange. They may have made a switch. Hooper's got the football meantime on the boundary. Beautiful centering kick. I think it was intended to be a centering kick. It actually scores as we go down to Richo.
Yeah, you're right, Dan. They have made the change. Jamison is on Buddy when he goes deep. When Buddy comes up the ground, I've got the feeling Gibbs will go back to him.
He looks so much better, doesn't he, Buddy, when he actually gets on his bike and moves around a bit.
Well, it's early days, but everything we've seen so far looks good from Franklin, doesn't it?
He looks sharp, yeah.
A couple of his tackles have been ferocious and the intent's there. So Gibbs off one step, helping up the ground, and Stratton did well.
Go, Santana! All right, Geordie.
Terrific article by Martin Flanagan in yesterday's Age on Santana and Halpin. I feel like I know him a bit better now. Murphy back. White had to squeeze it forward. Henderson. Brown worked him off very well, a bit too easily actually. Murphy, Whitecross, and then Whitecross out wide, and Gillum in the back half. Good kick into the centre, and Ellis has got a bit of time and space.
Ellis looks inside the forward 50, then Jamison working against Franklin, and Franklin is penalised. The Barry Hall in. That's where it all happened yesterday. And Franklin believing he's hard done by.
Well, they've signalled their intentions, Hawthorn, too. On 3 occasions, they've come back inside to the attacking part of the ground. So
Jamison goes looking for O'Halpin, who I think had a problem with his son initially. He was running through that area, as you can see. Ball pitched in front of him. Now a boundary throw in. Jacobs and Skipper, former Bulldog, got it. Simpson was over the ball, worked off it well by Peterson. Gee, it's been tough and scrambly so far. No concessions being made. So Hawthorn seemed to be in the right attitude to start this game.
White just sitting in front of Buddy now, so it's a 2-on-1.
Jacobs, one down by Skipper behind the pack, taken by Robinson, kicks towards half forward, missed by Henderson, loose ball at the back. Brown is first back, slips a hand pass away. Gillam's under pressure. Now an opportunity for Stratton. They keep their heads. Murphy gets it from Brown. Interesting. Pushing Murphy off the ball was Garlett. Slapped it out, but straight back to Whitecross. Taken by Lewis. Stumbles. Hand passes his side forward. Brilliant by Murphy. Down goes Simpson. He was tackled by Hooper. And the umpire decides it's a free kick to Carlton. Some good pressure there by the Blues that time. Putting it on the Hawks as the Hawks were trying to bring it out.
Gee, they got away with one, the Hawks there on Simpson, the high one, but they didn't get away with the second one. So they missed a chance there. Thornton's careful kick to Robinson, who looks up and decides to go with a long bomb. O'Halpin, well done. Timed it beautifully. What's he do here? Well, he's going to give Henderson a gift. Never lift, never. What can't you do? You don't look a gift horse in the mouth, do you?
That's right. We'll never play poker with a guy called Slick.
Gee, I don't know why O'Halpin didn't kick the goal, but he outpositioned Gillam very well. So the Blues missed one.
That was an outstanding contested mark that he took, though.
I reckon there's some guys you give it to and some you don't.
Well, he knows now, doesn't he?
Yep.
Hand in the back.
Push. Hands in his back, Brett.
So Ruffy for the first time today.
They're trying to isolate Buddy. Buddy's actually played a lot of his this first quarter in deep in the forward line.
So the long bomb in, and Jamison picked it off at the back. Osborne, who's been important early, and here's the O'Halpin effort a moment ago.
Well, it was an awkward one to go back and find, but having said that, he should have kicked it. Hard to kick that ball the way he did and not fall over. You need to get some angle on it and work it back and kick it hard. Here's Franklin again, who does all of the above and kicks long and kicks truly. Puts it through the middle. He looks on song today.
That is an extraordinary piece of play there by Buddy Franklin. You're right, Dennis. He looks as sharp as we've seen him all year. Great win there by Sewell too, just to shark the tap. But his ability to get up in that congestion and then run out of that and kick the balls from around 50. This is going to be the secret of the game, really, for Hawthorn. So many players are coming to the stoppages. Last week, they were smashed by the Tigers around the stoppages. If they win their fair share of ball with their talent, getting it into their forward line, they're a real chance this afternoon.
Yeah, Lance Franklin at ground level was looking super dangerous because he's on the move. He's moving around them stoppages and losing his man very easily. He hasn't taken a mark yet. That's another strength area in his game. But if he stays on the move, he's going to be involved all day.
He likes playing against the Blues. He's had some big moments against them at this ground. So terrific start by Franklin.
And they are pushing him deep. They don't want him to get too lost further up the ground, Bruce. So he's staying inside. They've got three pairs inside. They're attacking 50. Osborne at ground level as well. So they look dangerous, Hawthorn, if they can win this stoppage.
You feel like if he gets 12 kicks, Tim, you want them to be within range rather than the centre wing, don't you?
Mitchell, Andrew.
But he's got plenty of space to operate in. So here he goes again.
So Mitchell to full forward. Osborne front spot. Roughhead doing the roving. Couldn't quite get away. It was a good tackle. Terrific tackle by Thornton.
Back to Brett Gordon, please, Cyril.
But again, Hawthorn's game plan looks ominous so far. Getting it in quickly against Carlton's defence, where they've got blokes that can win one-on-ones. Well done, Jacobs. He's been impressive, Jacobs.
That was strong.
To Judd. And then had to backtrack and then put Johnson under the pump. Now he's a left footer. Back he goes to Judd to help out. And then Judd's kick is dangerous. Peterson, well, Chris Judd, and he knew it. He belted the ground. Not one but two Blues in a row by the champ.
We rarely see that great pressure again there from Buddy, though. Just forced the errant kick. Have a look at this. Just pressure right on him at the end.
He's kicked 3 goals in the last 2 matches. Richo knows this bloke pretty well. He started down at Richmond a couple of years back, but he's an athlete and becoming a pretty impressive first-year player for Hawthorn. Straight in front. He's squeezed it home, and this is a good start.
Well, you mentioned it, Bruce, about their ability to move the ball quickly. That seems to be a component of what they want to do this afternoon. Also mentioned it already about their stoppage work. They got absolutely smashed last week by Richmond, and this week they're already in front of Carlton, who are one of the best sides in the competition, have been able to win the ball around the ground and at the stoppages. So at this stage, they're doing pretty well. They're moving the ball quickly. They've been able to open up their forward line and really take away one of Carlton's strengths, which is the stoppage work, by bringing extra numbers to the...
Well, this has been eye-opening by the Hawks so far, really putting it to the Blues, who have been forced to react, but they haven't reacted too well. All about counter-punching so far for Carlton. Knocked down by Renoff, wide of the pack. Judd, anxious to make amends, tries to crash his way through it, spills wide. Robinson stripped of the football. Sewell left it behind. Guerra on the deck, springs to his feet. Burgoyne can't find a way through, goes back and wins the footy. Renoff at close quarters. Lewis feeds it forward. Now a chance for Birchall. Kicks it down towards half forward. Thornton stood his ground, got a hand pass across to Scotland. Armfield, now they run it up. Anderson across to Gartlett. Garland has one bounce, looks down towards the forward pocket. This kick is ill-directed, runs away from Satanta and goes out of bounds.
Need the next goal suddenly, Carlton, don't they? Early days. Hawthorn's last quarters have been an issue. Free kick.
First action was to push him under the flight of the ball.
You hate these as a coach.
Not with your hands, it's not.
Umpire explaining, and then you can use your body, but you can't use your hands. Within 40 metres of goal, within 30 metres of goal, this is just a gift for Carlton.
Well, their first goal was a gift. Rioli's 50-metre penalty to Joseph. So Cruiser kicked 3 last week. Feel like he got right back into good form last week. He'd had a bit of a flat patch, hadn't he? He's just a massive talent, we know that. And that one, it always promised to come back, but didn't. So they've missed a couple. Henderson from the goal square and Cruiser there.
Needed that one. Hawks dominating the game. Birchall. Nice kick coming in from Young. Birchall just pulls it back. Nearly 15. Hodge off his step to Lewis. Now Lewis decides to move it forward by hand. Roughhead bearing down Anderson. Wonderful chase. That's going to be a free kick. Anderson ran past Lewis and got to Roughhead. Don't know what Roughhead was thinking. We're not far away from the action there. Didn't hear very much either. Still, the crowd in pretty good voice. Hard to hear out there. Gibbs goes to the outer side. Johnson gets up, takes the mark, plays on immediately. Joseph bearing down out there is Hooper. Gets a second crack. Got him down holding the ball. Wonderful chase. Each club got something for the highlight reel there. Initially, it was Anderson. Whoa, it's taken off Hooper.
The free kick's for
into it after I gave the free kick.
pushing him in the back after the free kick.
Scotland's got it. Still stay on the highlight reel if they edit. Here's a chance for Gibbs. Goes down towards the pocket. O'Hara won't get to the contest. And the mark is taken there by Brown. So O'Halpin was the target, but it was well wide of him.
Play on!
Gee, interesting opening quarter, isn't it?
Yep.
Hold it there, Kate. Thank you.
Hope they don't edit your commentary, Dan. Short to Mitchell. Just leave it intact.
I've got a few suggestions.
Mitchell in the back half. Little push by Hodge. Did well. He's on the wrong side. It was an awkward kick, but he's kicked it to a bit of a hot spot. Skipper made a contest. That was important. Buddy held up. Skipper's handball. Hooper's kick one. Gives it to Lewis. Lewis kicks a fifth. No, he does not. And he should have.
He should have done a lot better. That was a brilliant kick then by Hodge. This is a free kick. This is what the umpire said before. The first action was right. There's the tackle. Here's the tackle. Bang, that's a free kick. And then he's saying that that push in the back then when he's actually getting up is what the free kick was paid against him for.
That's amazing.
They're going to be busy this afternoon.
Well, when you think what goes on before the game, before they even bounce the ball, how is that a free kick?
I reckon maybe it's an overreaction to what happened here yesterday with Barry Hill.
Scotland drives it to Cruiser. That was a terrific mark. As Bruce said, held a few late in the game last week. Got a sense the tide was turning for the young man. He kicks it down towards half forward. The ball is surrounded by Hawks, but Well, they didn't make a very good decision there. Brown came in, knocked it away from a teammate. And this ball is tied up for Carlton, and that's good enough. Henderson comes up with it. Very good result for the Blues. Bounce in the bright sunshine. Terrific afternoon here in Melbourne. Cruiser taps the ball towards the boundary. Judd, slick hands, feeds it forward. Murphy, back to Judd. Deep in the pocket. Requires his best. Not close to it. Across the face of goal. Bounces obligingly in the opposite pocket, and they bring it away. Right cross, gave it to Guerra. That's a magnificent kick. Going back, Osborne taken high.
That was a brilliant kick.
Coming back to the leg. Michael Osborne used his leg. Just
centimetre perfect.
It was just brilliant.
It's magnificent. Here's Birchall. So Birchall from Osborne. Franklin front spot. That's his first mark, Richo. Well, if he kicks this, you'll hear a mighty roar. Give us a quickie, Richo. I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, he just looks super dangerous though. You can tell already his confidence is up. He bodied Jamison out of that beautifully and read it through the air. When he's like this, he's very hard to stop. I've got a feeling he could be in for a big day.
He didn't really get it, but it doesn't matter. It's a goal. They all count. Just ask Stephen Kernahan.
Already he's causing some headaches. You're right, he didn't strike that ball very cleanly at all, but it still travelled 60 metres. And I was watching him pre-game from about this same distance, and he was doing it off about 3 steps. There's a kick coming in. Now, if you can isolate that contest there, one-on-one, Buddy Franklin's probably going to at the very least, to be able to knock the ball down to his favoured side and still do some damage. They probably need to make sure, Carlton, when the ball is moving through or up the ground, they've got to try and get the numbers back around Buddy. He looks awesome.
Yeah, Hawthorn play their best when they stifle the opposition, and they've been able to do that early today. The three amigos have been so important in the last 5 weeks. One touch between them. They need to get them into the game, get some overlap, because Hawthorn are stifling their ball movement at the moment.
24 points the margin then. Cruiser beaten at that bounce. Well done by Renoff. Picked up by Mitchell, who boots it down towards half forward. This time White goes across, takes the mark, hand passes to Thornton, kicks out wide. Leading in the race is Joseph. Again, the pressure comes from behind. Peterson slaps it towards the boundary. Burgoyne paddles it along the line. And we've got a throw in.
11-8 inside 50s Hawthorn's way. They only took the ball in there 38 times last week against Richmond at the MCG. So in general play, they're on.
Renoff knocks it down. Burgoyne goes out wide towards the boundary, hooked around the outer side by Hodge. It stays in initially. Osborne on the ground. Scotland comes away with the football. Russell to the opposite pocket. Johnson's got it. Thornton is breaking. No real conviction in that run. Now Johnson decides to go close to the man on the mark. Got over the top. Stolen away from Carazzo. Roughhead goes in. And what was that? That was a rough attempt. That was a shocker.
Great steal. And once again, Hawthorn's pressure, their forward line pressure is really troubling Carlton. They're slowing down their rebound, and it's been a real feature this first quarter.
He's had a messy quarter, Ruffy, hasn't he? He's been caught holding the ball twice.
What is it with players in the modern era, though, that want to kick the ball on the ground as opposed to giving it some elevation?
So they've missed a couple, haven't they, the Hawks? So have the Blues at the other end. Now Russell forced to kick in a hurry. Cruz at the target, couldn't take the mark. Hodge, been important, he always is. Carazzo went to ground. Well done, Armfield. Murphy in heavy traffic, terrific to Joseph. What a good test this is for the Blues now. They've been playing such great footy for the last month and a bit. That's a good kick, Garland. Henderson always had the drop. Can they get it in quickly? Well, he's got a shorty out wide.
That's
to
fine,
Murphy.
Campbell, you're right on the spot.
O'Halpin's in the goal square, leading now. He goes from the sun to the shade for a moment. Murphy keeps it tight. It's a left footer he's given it to, so that's not too bad. That's Simpson.
He did that well before Campbell Brown, though. He actually was going to defend inside the defensive 50. He left Murphy out there knowing that he was going to be outside his goal-kicking range.
So Simpson's improved the angle. He's kicked the ball right towards the goals, getting up Renouf. Guerra to Ellis, and then Ellis took that extra step that makes everyone a bit nervous, and Hodge does so well.
Push.
So brave, Hodge. He never takes his eye off the footy.
He's at left half back. He kicks it just beyond the wing. Lewis comes across, who proved his bravery on this ground a few weeks back against the Bulldogs. It's out of bounds off hands. Throw in at the interchange gates. 33 plays 8. Hawthorn dominating this game. Jacobs knocks it down. Franklin with 2 goals to his name. Spilt it. Carrazzo at close quarters. Jacobs hammers the ball at Johnson. Once again, Buddy around the boundary. It's out of bounds. Suddenly there's that strut. He's looking to make some contact. He is on today. It was interesting the way they matched him up at the start. He's had a few opponents today. They're sort of rolling off him. Gibbs was the first to go, and I'm not sure that he took one look at Gibbs and didn't like that matchup and has felt better ever since. Speaking of the devil, Gibbs, Thornton, Anderson. Under pressure, Anderson. They're coming from everywhere. They just got it across to White. White, Thornton. Still the pressure mounts. Skipper back inside the forward 50. Osborne can't get there in time. White takes the mark.
It's great pressure. I reckon what happened was Gibbs went to him and he thought, OK, I'll see if he's going to go all the way with me. He went deep, decided he wasn't going to go with him when he went deep.
He's chasing Gibbs as we speak, and Gibbs kicks a good one to Jacobs.
Right there.
So the Blues have been popped to question in this opening term.
They've been slowed, haven't they? They've been really slow moving the ball forward. Great defensive pressure from Hawthorn.
Kick down the line. Henderson should have taken the mark. He did very well.
Advantage. Never had the football.
And Murphy's got it now, so well played Henderson. Murphy running, and kicking it beautifully. He's like a Rolls Royce. He purrs, doesn't he?
That was a clinical finish. He summed it up beautifully. Great decision on his behalf. He was going to kick the ball early. The forwards led at him. He saw the space over the back, and then he just coolly and calmly, there's a free kick. That's going to be a real bit of a problem, I reckon, that match up there. Particularly Henderson leading hard to the ball. He's got a distinct height advantage against Campbell Brown. At this stage, that could be a real win for Carlton if they can get the ball there quickly enough and try and isolate that matchup.
Well, as recently as last Sunday, we learnt that Carlton will not go away. They've got plenty of determination, and they keep on coming. A couple of times last week we thought Port had shaken them off. So an interesting test. And that goal pretty important approaching quarter time. Hodge hurriedly onto the boot. Down towards the attacking 50. Awkward bounce for Franklin. Up went Roughhead. Tapped it down to White. Thornton sweeps it behind the pack. Russell gives it to Scotland. Scotland comes out wide, and the mark is taken by Simpson. Simpson, finding so much of the football this season, sends it high. Brown had it bounce off his chest. The kick was intended for the man in front, Robinson. Henderson was taken down. Robinson goes again. Brown loves a contest. He loves the feel of flesh against his body. In the opposite direction, Simpson to Robinson. Almost closed down. Jacobs attracts a crowd. Worked out okay for the Blues. Got it across to Russell. Armfield bearing down Rioli. Got him. Affected the kick. Ball runs down towards the attacking 50. Garlett. Sleight of hand, Garlett. Oh, how did he do that? Garlett picked his own pocket. Now he's dragged down by Osborne, who arrived like the cavalry. The third man did him in. Didn't know he was coming. Osborne's got the free kick at right half back. I think it's called palming the ball in basketball. Garlett just did it.
Well, he beat 2, but he couldn't beat the 3rd. I reckon Barry was going to beat the 3rd yesterday, but he just couldn't do the other one. Just a moment ago, that was the grand final of 08, remember?
This was great play until the 3rd one arrived for Garlett too.
Dennis was talking about, was it too high? Talking about Brown loves the flesh. Well, it was Robinson against him a moment ago. Mitch Robinson versus Campbell Brown. That would be something, I reckon. Let him loose. So back go the Blues to Jamison. To Thornton. Now they've got the Lucy on. White. He came into the team the same day Judd came back this year, so he's had 5 pretty good weeks. That's courage by Russell and tough by Lewis. When we know about his courage here, Lewis ran it over, boundary throw in.
Interesting too that Eddie Betts hasn't touched the footy.
The Yarns had 1.
And Garland a moment ago was tricky but couldn't quite get away with it. Skipper, he started forward. Judd's handball. Well done, Carazzo. White gets it. Well, Eddie almost there, didn't quite get to it. Judd again. Handball wide to Scotland. Scotland, Carazzo. They're thinking their way through it. They don't have long to think it through, though. Back goes Anderson. Gibbs normally good. And there's that matchup, Henderson.
This one is the worry at the moment. He's worked hard, Henderson, in his first quarter.
Well, he's been out for a fortnight, Tim. They've kept him hungry.
He's fresh.
He's interesting, isn't he? He was a high draft pick for Brisbane. Not sure whether he's going to go on and be a very good player or not quite make it, but these are the kicks that could define careers. Big kicks on sirens. Well, I hope it doesn't define his. There's a lot of footy to be played. Oh, boy. There you go. 5-3 to 2-2, a quarter time on Sunday. For the Hawks, they've kicked 5 in the opening term, but Murphy got the last one, and you felt in that last 5 minutes that things were evening up. A lot of the ball, Franklin, Judd's had a lot of the ball, but a couple of them haven't been his best. He's been rushed a bit. Hodge getting in and under and getting dirty as he does so well. So the Blues there, in the last 5 weeks, their only defeat to Collingwood. They've been to Adelaide twice and knocked off Geelong and St Kilda. And a lot talked about Franklin in that opening term.
Yeah, he was outstanding and found a little bit of pace. And Richo mentioned the fact that he really started to move. And I know we watched him last time here, and he wasn't moving nearly enough. He was trying to out-bustle and out-muscle his direct opponent. But when he gets on his bike, there's very few players, particularly defenders, capable of stopping him. Interestingly, too, in the centre bounce clearances, Hawthorn are up 4-0, so they've done really well. Then you look at that talent, Sewell, Hodge, Mitchell, and also Burgoyne, who they've had rotating through that part of the ground. That just oozes of class.
And Tim, the fact that Carlton, and Dennis mentioned this, have come from behind last week, they're in a similar position today. I mean, that becomes infectious a bit, doesn't it? It helps you.
It does. It gives you a lot of confidence. And I reckon, look, if Hawthorn can't maintain that forward pressure that they applied in the first quarter, they're in real trouble, because we know that Carlton can move the ball so well from that part of the ground.
So it's 5-3 to 2-2. The coach and the captain together there for the Blues. So quarter time here, 14 to 33. Richo's down there, and he's about to be joined by the Carlton coach, Brett Ratton, who just finishes off with Bryce Gibbs. And there's Alistair Clarkson. Over to you, Richo.
Brad's been able to stifle your ball movement a little bit early.
Yeah, we've made a few errors, especially, I suppose, in our back 50, and we've been really slow to get the ball out of there, and they've made us pay. They've done a really good job from there.
What was your key message at quarter time?
Just make the first thought really happen for us. I thought we've been a bit reactive, like, oh, the perfect play. No, just get the ball in someone's hand and get the ball moving as quick as possible.
Thanks, Brett.
Good on you, Matthew.
Well done, Matthew. Good policy too. Sometimes trying to be too perfect in these situations under pressure does not work. One of the things we saw too with that first goal by Osborne, it highlighted a contradiction in modern footy. Players so often reluctant to leave their man, just allowed him to waltz in to kick the goal. Discipline is one thing, initiative's another as we start this second term. Cruiser knocks it down, he follows up, ball spills out the back, well done by Simpson. He earned it, he kicks it down towards half forward. Henderson, Judd left without it, uncharacteristically. In goes his opposite number, but he lost it. Mitchell comes across to Scotland. Scotland to the pocket. O'Halpin was up. Good defence though by Gillum. Just angles the fist out of bounds.
Henderson was good then, just coming off the line and actually meeting the ball hard. I like the way he pushes to the ball.
Judd hasn't been Judd this afternoon with the football in his hands, and it should have been right there. Slipped through. Reaching over the top, Cruiser. Ricochets off Judd, close to the line. Simpson feeds it back. More of the ball for Judd. That's better. Just sends it back. White's got it. About 75 metres from goal. Robinson offers a lead. He ignores that and goes to Murphy. So he's 60 metres out.
Then off a step. Well, that was a slow kick in, and there's always a chance, and Hodge read it well. Hodge played that role so well in their premiership back half of the season, didn't he?
Well, that move really won them the flag back in 2008. Round 17, shifting him behind the ball.
So Birchall's got the job running with Judd at the moment. Scotland took them on, got the ball back. Here's Betts, he's taken the long sleeve, Guernsey off, and he's getting a couple of touches. That one off the side by White. Peterson, who kicked a goal in the opening term.
This is where they need to break quickly.
Franklin the target. Well done, White. Franklin, well, affected the spoil. And then Burgoyne with a probing kick over the top. Russell's got to chase. The ball's got a bit of legs here. And Russell got on his bike and got there. Gee, he did almost enough to have held that, didn't he? It was a solid marking effort. Up he gets, White.
So Jamieson out of the back pocket goes to the opposite pocket. Thornton
Thanks, Jared.
made it look quite difficult. Short one along the line. Joseph. Not much up ahead, and what there is isn't moving too much. Play on's the call, so he just kicks it high. That's a frustrated kick. It goes towards Henderson. Up in front, Murphy couldn't hang on. Spills wide. Brown across to Hodge. Feigns a kick. Beats the oncoming player, but then proceeds to put it out of bounds. A lot of the ball too for Hodge, up to 11 possessions now, but hasn't really hurt Carlton that much so far. Normally deadly with his feet. Of course, we're told he's the spiritual leader of Hawthorn at the present time, so very much a cult figure.
Cruiser in the centre of three. Hodge one of them.
What does that mean, Dennis?
Not sure.
Well, Ben Cousins was the spiritual leader when they won the flag, wasn't he, in 06?
Yes. And the Maharishi was the spiritual leader with the Beatles, wasn't he?
Yep. There's injury. There's White just clutching at his knee, his left knee there.
The Maharishi.
And he's gone, and so most of the Beatles, unfortunately. Mitchell to Lewis. Out on the full.
They're slowly, Carlton, working their way up the field. They started in the back pocket. And Hawthorn had the full ground press going, so they may get out this time, although Hawthorn now seem to have manned them up.
Which is unlike Carlton, Tim, because they've been playing
A really up-tempo brand of footy, haven't they?
Absolutely, high-octane stuff, but not at the moment. And Brett Ratton talked about being instinctive and going for it. Here's Betts. Well done, though, by Birchall. He read that play of Betts well. Betts trying to go between his legs with the footy. But Birchall must have had that trick done to him as a kid, because he was up for it. So this match just poised at the moment. Burgoyne's handball cut off by Murphy. Then Hodge was terrific to Burgoyne. Now it's released Young on the right side for him. Young runs the full measure, kicks the ball long and kicks it magnificently. It was touched right on the line by Joseph, apparently.
Not convinced, Bruce.
Oh, no, I couldn't tell. I'm a long way away.
Never stopped us before.
Here it is, yeah, right on the line. Good call from the umpire there. Good play there by Burgoyne too. It's the first time he's been more influential at all at a stoppage. Couple of touches there at that last stoppage at wing position. That's why they recruit him. He has that capacity to win the ball at those stoppages and make the break and then bring other players into the game.
Russell drives it towards the wing. Gillam was up, knocks it down. Lewis stumbles over. Robinson just flicks it away. Yarran, that was a great tackle. That's got to be holding the ball. Just spilt out of there. Birchall is tied up. Down he goes. Robinson got him. So far between Betts, Garlett and Yarran, just 4 possessions. Not exactly the charge of the Light Brigade. They average 75 kilos each. So in some respects they are. Burgoyne, Young, Guerra just bounced off Robinson, tackled by Yarran, so he's paid back in kind right there. And this is holding the ball.
Happy to sit on it, Fred. Happy to sit on it.
Don't know who was happy. Yarran's got the football, plays on immediately. Scotland into a roadblock. Down he goes. Spills across the 50. Charging through was Gibbs. Applies a tackle on Roughhead. Jarred out of there. Taken by Murphy. High hand pass. Well done, Simpson. Yarran, Scotland. Floats it down towards full forward. Wonderful courage going back by Murphy. Got a fist on it. In fact, it was Stratton who applies a tackle then on the man coming up the ground, Henderson. Henderson's been lively, and Stratton right there was courageous.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Mark.
It's been a physical couple of minutes. Jacobs just worked Skipper out of it, then Birchall and Robinson, and then Skipper had a second crack. Little handball was okay from Ellis, and they've worked it out well. Gillam decides to build it as far as he can. Thornton. Oh, Osborne was terrific to Franklin. Let him go, let him go. Buddy might go all the way here. 2 bounces. Go for it, Buddy. Oh, he's front too far, surely. No, to Ruffy. And then Ruffy's funny little kick. He's been doing it all day. But he gets back. Still with Franklin. Carlton surround him. Osborne free kick. That's how it all started.
Go down, Shane.
He should have had a shot. There was no one back.
He'll have it now, Dennis. Whack. And look at this coming and going and going and I love him. Sorry about that. I've had
No,
we were with you. Oh, God.
Johnson just coming from the ground. Looks like he's holding his shot. There was nothing in front of Buddy here. He decided to take a detour.
Now we got a 50.
And this is Osborne just winning the ball. We didn't actually see Osborne winning the ball then, but he actually won 2 free kicks in that passage of play.
Buddy dominating those last few moments like Bruce Springsteen dominates a Bruce Springsteen concert. He was the only man in the spotlight. Here's Thornton on the outer side, drives it down towards half forward. Robinson tries to work in front. Murphy leads him back in the race, close to the line, Gillum. And Gillum knocks it across, so we'll have a boundary throw in.
He went a good 25 then too, Buddy, without bouncing the ball.
And Bruce was reluctant to call him, but even Bruce, I think, would have blown the whistle had he been umpiring. Not sure what the ump was thinking. Tossed in. Jacobs hooks it down behind. Betts. Oh, that was a terrific tackle that got him on the deck. Murphy. Now an opportunity for Robinson. Tries to knock it forward. Comes across towards Young. Tackled by Jacobs. O'Halpin was met. Coming through was Mitchell. Opposite direction Armfield. Feeds it across towards Simpson. Goes back to Carazzo. Carazzo 55 metres out. High ball in from the side. It's killed there by Guerra and goes through for a behind. Richo.
Yeah, White's come off with a knee, and it looks like a shoulder with Johnson. They're just having a look at it at the moment, but they're 2 down at this stage, and Robinson's copped one as well. So,
yeah.
Few of the Blues just down at the moment.
Good mark by Ellis.
Hawthorn are starting to look like they're playing at their unsociable best again, aren't they?
For sure. So Ellis searching for Franklin. Jamison, still Buddy. He's up and about. Well done, Jamison, but the handball to Ellis was effective. Ellis tumbles it forward. Russell probably could have marked it. Did the defensive thing. Hooper was very good. Well played, though, by Robinson. He kept his eye on it. White crossover committed. Robinson's kick to O'Halpin. Gee, Gillum's had a good quarter. Did well again, and then belts it back, but it's all the Blues, and Thornton takes a nice mark. Rolling down, and then the little kick out wide's a good one. To Carazzo.
Carazzo. Wrong foot's the man on the mark and goes to half forward. Robinson, well, that was ambitious, as they say in the classics. Young got him down. Sewell just taps it across to Guerra. Peterson, run comes from half back. Birchall, very left-sided, straightens up now, kicks towards half forward. Trouble for Jamison? No. Beat in pointless. Jamison just chips it across to Joseph. Franklin trying to turn the defender around and run it back towards full forward. Nothing doing there. Mitchell drives it back inside the forward 50. Franklin lurking. Franklin kicking it behind. Five, 7, 2, 3. Matthew Richardson's prowling the boundary.
Just finding myself cheering for Buddy down here. I don't know if you're meant to do that when you're working, but Hawthorn's tackle intensity today has been outstanding. I reckon that's the main reason why they're in front in this game. Every time Carlton gets the ball, they're under pressure, and they're looking like they're going to get tackled every time. It's really good.
I wonder if we're going to look back here, though, Tim. I mean, they've kicked 4 behinds in this quarter to 1, Hawthorn.
34-24 the tackles at this stage too. They're just not doing any damage on the scoreboard.
That's the problem. They're 37-15. They're 22 points in front. They probably should be 32 points in front.
One of the brighter things from this quarter, though, has been the form of Burgoyne as well. He's had 4 clearances now and 8 possessions.
And puts a tackle on Murphy. They're on the back foot, the Blues, aren't they? Jacobs, Gibbs, they've got to think their way through this. Scotland did well and got away. It was a high tackle. Russell leant back, dangerous kick, a good one in the end. That was, what was it, Dennis?
Centimetre perfect, Bruce.
Armfield wide. Gets it to Thornton.
Thornton runs the outer side to Carazzo. He's in right half forward. Carazzo looks down towards the pocket. I think it was intended for O'Halpin. Too much carrying Brown. That was a terrific mark. Missed that. And they would have had problems. Ellis by himself looks inside the corridor. Sewell, good talking there from Peterson, encouraged him to come back.
fine.
So Sewell, half back. Takes something off the kick towards half forward. That's a good mark by Hodge. Play the Sitar. He's got the ball on the other side wing. Just pops it across to Lewis. Lewis 5 metres in from the line. Kicks towards the pocket. In front, Roughhead being held.
Hold the jumper. Hold the jumper. Best ball jumper, Michael.
That was always going to be a good matchup then for Hawthorn. The one-on-one, there was no one else that was going to be able to influence that contest between the two big guys. And that really just purely caused from being a little bit undersized, Jamison, even though he's a very good player.
Nice kick too coming in from the spiritual leader. Setting things up. And now Roughhead. Right behind him. His kicking hasn't been that flash today. But you would expect him to kick this one. And if he does, again, oh, well, won't worry about it. Won't bore you with that theory.
Talked the other day about, he spoke about the other day about how he's gone back to his kicking action of a couple of years ago, which was 2 or 3 steps. It suited him.
Here's Young, who's a left footer and kicks the goal. They've been waiting for it, and now suddenly there is scoreboard pressure.
Just a kick-out error there by, it's really the second kick. I mean, the first kick was okay. The second one just dribbled along the ground, and pretty simple finish then for Young, who was on the correct side there of the ground for a left footer. I reckon that in a game of football, though, when a side is under the pump sort of generally across the ground, more pressure seems to come to bear on the kick-ins where they actually can control the footy.
Just watching Jared Roughhead kick for goal at the moment, I think I know his problem. He's got a little man in his head, and I should know. I know him well. He lived there for 18 years, but I think he's just gone out to Waverley, and he's currently just residing in Jared's head, I think.
Chris Grant talked about that same fella, didn't he, during the week? Richard, did you ever get rid of him?
Oh, he was there on and off for a long time. I'd have a week or two where he'd disappear, but he'd always bob up.
Your legacy, Richard.
There's Burgoyne with those clearances Tim's talking about. Inside Hodge. He knew he had a problem, but he did okay in the end. Young to Hodge. And then Scotland. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Hawthorn at their best here. Birchall kept up, stayed up, got the kick away. They didn't bring him down. Young tries to do it for the second time in a minute. Into the goal square. Skipper gets it out. Franklin off the ground. Hooper's lurking with Buddy. Russell's under the pump. Hooper needs to be clean. Taps it back. Russell arches his back. Gets away. Jacob searches. Runs into a brick wall. Good stuff. Anderson on the up. Armfield. Umpire goes to ground. 50-50. Oh, Campbell Brown loves that one. Back inside. Hooks it back to 50. Hodge coming in hard as you knew he would. Over to you, Dennis.
Mitchell. Now Young got their last goal. Just outside the 50. Birchall. Like Young, a left footer, and they could never straighten up the pair of them there. They wanted the right angle. It was like snooker, and they couldn't do it.
I reckon the first kick had to go to Osborne, though. Osborne actually was in kicking distance. There's Judd going down after a heavy clash. Took a while to get back up again. Just got him in the unprotected part of the ribs.
So Russell, whose last kick wasn't particularly good, but he's in stellar form out of the back pocket. I have to say, it's a massive crowd now at the Dome, hasn't it? Built up. Jacobs takes a wonderful mark.
That's 2 strong contested marks for him too. He's been impressive.
Gibbs across half back. Henderson. Judd is running off the ground, and the ball coming in his direction. Well marked by Roughhead. They were 1 short there where the numbers were even at the start. I think the man took 1 look, Henderson, down there, and thought he was going to a situation that was okay. He makes amends with a very clever mark there. Not that it was his fault before. Thornton runs to the outer side. Gallup takes the mark, the defensive side of centre wing.
Good clean hands.
Move it on,
Just getting nothing forward. When's the last time Carlton were in their forward 50? Cruiser. Belted away by Stratton. Saul, back he goes. Gillen. Now they're in their forward 50. Murphy, but it's the Hawks that have taken them there. It's been a long time since they've threatened the goal, Carlton, isn't it?
Thanks, his hands are right there.
Well, I'm not sure if Burgoyne can go for 4 quarters, and he's only up to 9 possessions, but 6 of those have been contested possessions, and his work around the clearance has been outstanding too in this quarter.
Wow. down.
So Whitecross got it from Brown, and then Cruises in the box. Well, he should have marked it probably. It's a bit sunny there. Osborne at his combative best again there. Gibbs going back. You're putting one another under pressure, though, and Hawthorn's tackling has been a feature, as we've talked about. Hooper tries to take two down with him, and now Gibbs can't get rid of it, and the ball may go to the boundary. No, Hooper should have given it off. He does now to Osborne. Osborne's left foot. Look who's there. You betcha, buddy. It was a beautiful kick, wasn't it? Because it gave Franklin the run.
Well, it was Osborne's great kick, really, and once again, from the congestion, they're actually able to win the ball, get it into the hands of a player that was running free, but that is just an outstanding kick, and Osborne's been in position a number of times this quarter too to receive.
So Franklin's kicked 3 goals in the opening half, and Hawthorn have got a big break now.
Well, they've lowered their colours in a lot of games this year, Hawthorn, in the contested possession. They're up at this stage against Carlton. It's been their willingness to work around those stoppages and actually get that next tackle, that next player involved, and then finally being able to move the ball. But that was just a beautifully weighted kick to the favoured side of a forward.
And Tim, Hooper and Osborne are 2 guys that have come in today. Now, they were responsible for getting that hard ball out to Franklin. They've been good, both of them.
Excellent.
Just before Buddy kicked that goal, Cyril Rioli came off the ground with his tagger, Joseph. He's yet to have a touch, Cyril. That's a good sign for Hawthorn, because if he gets into the game, you know, they're only going to go from strength to strength.
Optimistic. Half full, says Richard. Held to Hodge, and the umpire will ball it up. Just talking about Buddy Franklin, the signs were there last week, a season's high 8 marks. Best effort against Carlton, 6, round 19 of those 6. He's on that sort of pace this afternoon. Up goes Burgoyne, but straight to Scotland. Stolen away by Simpson. Looks inside the forward 50. Not a good kick. He kicked it like Homer. It bounces down towards the boundary. Gillum goes back across the face of goal. That has got to be a...
We're at the square.
Well, I don't understand the rule, Tim.
No one does.
That's why we need to change it. For everyone who lauded the rule, no good. There's Lewis. I'm a majority of 1 this afternoon.
Well, the strict interpretation of the rule is that one where there's no one around, you just step back over the line.
Yeah. But you'd hate to see a game decided, not so much by that, but by the guy who is the goose who keeps it in. Driven around the outer side, they compete just beyond the wing, and Cruiser this time, where he punched last time, takes the mark. Lays it off to Thornton. Thornton, little U-turn. Kicks towards half forward. Betts set a task there. Knocked away by Murphy. Burgoyne, did he have the football? Comes to Simpson. Simpson, a high ball. Floats towards full forward. Loose at the back, Robinson. Goal.
Well, he's a lively forward, Mitch Robinson, but just here's the deliberate. Was it deliberate or not? I wouldn't have thought so, no. Right on the line there. I mean, that's the strict and correct interpretation of the law. Here's a really important one that they won out of the contest. Now, Brown comes into this contest. Okay, all he really does, he doesn't influence the contest nearly enough. That's what you want one of your defenders to do, but I really think he's going to smash that ball. If he's going to go near that contest, he's got 2 choices.
So what you're saying is that wasn't deliberate?
No. Well, it is deliberate, but not by the strict interpretation of the law.
When you saw that angle in his defence, he probably took the ball on the line, as it turned out. But the irony is that this was the team that were the catalyst for the rule change. Remember that grand final?
Yeah.
When they walked over the...
It was a Hawthorn rule.
He's got his seasons mixed, I think, Bircher.
Well, hopefully Hawthorn do too, Dennis.
Well, they have this afternoon.
They sure have. Joseph to Scotland, though. The Blues got a very important goal there. High ball, good mark, Jacobs to Simpson. He can kick this. Well, not like that. Gillum. See, Simpson's had a few of those today.
Jacobs been good in the contested marking situation too.
Osborne. It's been lively, Osborne. Good awareness. Lovely orientation. Now, can Franklin turn them? Well played. Kept his eye on it. Didn't want to get on his bike. Ellis. Ellis. Still Ellis. Peterson. Back to Osborne. Back to Peterson. Back to Franklin now. He looks up into the centre and he's got some targets. He goes to the shortest. It misses Hodge. Then Saul gets it to Hodge and they can open up on what is called the fat side.
I think Garlett's Franklin's cousin too. He was bearing down very quickly a couple of times there. Here's Lewis. Jabs it inside the forward 50. Hodge in the opposite direction. Carazzo showed courage as well. Roughhead. Slick hand pass to Mitchell. His came unglued. They picked up by Cruiser over the top to Henderson. Running out of defence, Murphy. Put the brakes on. Cruiser follows up. Hard running by Cruiser. And again, he takes it from Armfield. Goes down towards half forward. Garlett's got it. On the move is Betts. Needed to keep it down. Betts couldn't hang on. Robinson, fumble. Falls to ground. Stolen away by Brown. And suddenly, sigh of relief from the Hawks. Lewis just pops it to midfield. Rioli back on the ground with a touch immediately. Short one. Roughhead stretches and claims it right on the 50. Hooper wants it. Goes in that direction. Draws him pretty wide. He's taken the mark within range.
That was just a beautiful kick then from Surioli. Just took the pace off the ball. Here's the one. There's the rebound. That started the rebound again. Just end-to-end stuff the last couple of minutes.
Just a few more metres off that kick. Closer to the goal might have been perfect, but Hooper should kick this. Mind you, he ran hard. He's still breathing heavily. And this kick is good enough. And Carlton with a big problem now. To Hooper.
With such a feature of modern day football, the ball goes down one wing and then there's a turnover. This is the turnover. Mitch Robinson just couldn't get the handle on the ball. Good play there by Campbell Brown. They've got the players. As soon as they see the ball going into Carlton's forward line, they run to the fat side of the ground. They've got all that distance there to operate in. This was a really smart kick, though. There wasn't much on at that stage. He actually had to take the speed off the ball, just set it up to Jared Roughhead, and then Hooper just got in behind the Carlton defence.
So Hooper and Osborne, two of the ins today, have been very, very important, both in a defensive forward role and the fact they've kicked goals, haven't they?
Well, Hooper's only had 6 touches, but he's had more effect on this game than just the 6 touches suggest.
So out to that 5-goal and a bit margin again. Here's Rioli, so a second touch in a moment. Check side, kick to full forward, and he's found Ruffy. Well, he's found him for the second time in a minute. It was a clever kick.
It was a good tap too, and a good clearance from Hawthorn. And that's an area where they've really been good this afternoon. Rioli, Mitchell and Burgoyne at ground level in at that stoppage. That's a lot of talent too.
Is that bloke still in his head, do you reckon, Richo? That fella you couldn't get rid of? We're about to find out, I think.
He's definitely still there, but I might back him here.
Let's have a look. Important kick for Roughhead. 2 steps. Coming back. He's got it. And Hawthorn might have it too. It's a long way to go, but they're looking good.
That is a big, big gap now as we close in on half-time, 40 points. And here's the tap. And they are just dying to get Rioli fit enough so that he can actually play more midfield time. And when you think about the talent they've got at their disposal in that centre bounce clearance with Mitchell, Sewell, Ellis, Hodge, it just oozes class, and it's as deep as anyone else's talent would be in their midfield selection across the competition.
Jared Roughhead kicked his career high, 8 goals against Carlton, round 6 last season. Starting the day, 21 goals this season, including 6 against the West Coast Eagles in round 7. Rioli, that was a really clever kick coming out of the middle. This one goes against Rioli, taken by Gibbs, drives it down towards half forward, going back with the flight of the ball. Whitecross got a tentative fist on it, and pass came across there from Betts to Robinson. He hugs the boundary line with a kick and finds Scotland. Sharp angle, just over 2 minutes remaining in the half. Judd just the one possession in this term. You saw him on the lead there moments ago. Copped a heavy knock, came off the ground. He's back out there, but hasn't had much influence. So Scotland, this is a very difficult kick, but he normally is very talented with his feet. This one is working back just the wrong side of the post.
Oh, Halpin's just had the one touch, and that was really probably in the first 5 minutes of play. There was just one mark to him, so they've Really, only their most effectual forward has been, or the most influential forward for them really has been Henderson.
Good contest by Robinson, but Hawthorn with numbers, and then Hodge loads up and decides to go. And well played there by Roughhead to give Mitchell every opportunity. And then Henderson did well. He gang tackled him a bit in the end, roughed him up, and Mitchell belts it forward to Armfield. Back to Carazzo. Carazzo will go to the centre to Joseph, who had to search for it. Did well. Releases Simpson, who releases Gibbs, who looks up and goes to Jacobs, and then back to Simpson, who had to wait for the footy for a moment. Neat kick, Betts. Well played at there, back by Whitecross. Scotland is pushed forward. Yaron, we haven't called a few of these blokes too often today. Back to Murphy, back inside. Can they think their way through this, the Blues? Not for the moment.
Interesting to note too, Carlton's average halftime score this season 57 points, so they're well off that at the moment. 23. And halftime very close. Yaron got a hand to it. Young did brilliantly, weaving his way through. Rioli to Sewell, who goes back, and the mark is taken by Gillum.
Young's still running to space too, Dennis.
That's hard running, isn't it? Mind you, he's outnumbered, needs a mark here. Cruising behind is Carazzo. Well, that's a good result. As far as the Hawks are concerned, Carazzo couldn't take it cleanly, and Young took off on the far side of the ground, continued his run. Ball came his way, and it finished up okay. So a throw in 35 seconds out from half-time.
Front spot, Renouf. Murphy, here is Judd. So Judd to the pocket, good kick, Betts. No free kick. Over the back was Murphy.
That's been their problem. They've been trying to actually use those small forwards as their lead-up targets, but Hawthorn have played taller defenders against them, and they haven't really had any trouble whatsoever knocking the ball away from them.
It looked a problem for Hawthorn before the match. Just those matchups on Carlton's forward line hasn't worked out so far. Rioli was the third man up. Jacobs ran into Guerra. And Hawthorn will be pretty happy to have another stoppage and get some more time off the clock. So Saul and Judd a lot of the ball in the opening term, but it wasn't quality stuff for him. He was under pressure a lot of the time. He's had a quieter second quarter. Jacobs belts. Judd can impose himself late here in the pocket. A cross and a behind. Or marked, perhaps. So marked right on the halftime siren. And Hawthorn, well, they've played some good first halves this year, and this is probably their best. They were very good against Geelong early in the year, very good against Melbourne in the opening half, good against the Bulldogs. They've set themselves up for what could be a big win. It's 9-8 to 3-5 on Sunday Footy.
Jared Roughhead, who's been busy in the opening term. His kicking hasn't been his feature, though. 9-8-62, 3-5-23 at the major break after the margin was 19 points at quarter time. And that was made look a little bit better by a late goal to the Carlton side after they really fell off the pace midway through, and he's been a star this afternoon. We predicted he could be back in form based on his 8 marks last week, and really he has cut loose. Let's go down to Matthew Richardson.
Yeah, Dennis, we have a look at Hawthorn's form today, and they're back to their premiership form in a couple of key areas. Tackling intensity's been awesome today. They're just hounding the Carlton players and restricting inside 50s. In their premiership year, they were great at that, and they've done that today. Also on a personnel level, Hooper and Osborne have come in and had a real impact. And, of course, Buddy Franklin looking like he's getting back to his best.
And Satana's up on his toes as well.
I reckon Sticks Coonahan might have gone down the rooms at half-time and just had a chat to him. Just say, mate, you've got to get moving. Just one touch in the first half. Not good enough for a key forward.
Start of the second half then. Carlton with a lot to do. Hawthorn, well, getting close to their best in recent times. Shades of a couple of years back. Sliding in.
Marked it to the ground. Let him go
Heard
back.
the umpire. Hooper paid the mark.
Play on, Ron. Play on.
He's just ambling to his left-hand side. Called a play on. Sets it up high down towards full forward. Now a whack
Joe,
across
your
the
kick.
head. We'll see a free kick go to Anderson.
Arms down.
Or
Joe,
is
your
it?
kick, mate.
Yes, it is. Thrown to Thornton, but Anderson's kick, a late replacement for Houlihan, just chips it to Scotland up from the back pocket. Early going third term. Scotland hugs the boundary with a kick. Go to Jacobs, why not? He's been marking well. Missed that one, though. taken by Birchall, away to Sewell, surrounded, just lays it off. Somehow, Weir got out of there. Goes across to Burgoyne. Burgoyne stumbles, gives it to Guerra, set away on his left side. Telling kick down towards full forward. Up one-handed was Franklin. Russell at the back. Still got a problem. Tapped into the path of Young there by Thornton. Young still going. Bounces to his feet. Osborne, who's been dangerous, kicks a magnificent goal.
He's been dangerous and he has been outstanding. Had 12 possessions, kicked 2 goals now. And I reckon there were 3 occasions in that first half where Hawthorn players actually missed him. He was in a really good position. But once again, it was the pressure being applied by the forwards that disallowed Carlton to move the ball cleanly from that part of the ground. And that has been a feature. We wondered whether or not they might be able to keep this going up all game. But they've started this second half really well. And this is Chris Judd just before the players left the ground at half-time too, just urging them on, just giving them a few home truths perhaps before they leave the ground at half-time.
So 45 points now the margin. Osborne, a goal in the opening term and a terrific one there. Saul, maybe high.
High football.
We showed a graphic at the start of the match. 6 consecutive wins by an average of 44 points, Hawthorn over Carlton. Well, they're right on that average as we speak. I think most of us came here today thinking they had a chance. But this is a surprising scoreline. Rioli bursting through Scotland end. Judd get hold of him.
Head down, trying to burrow through. Okay, sure, no worries. This way now. Next door, please.
So contested footy about equal, but that's a good result for the Hawks because Carlton have been way up on Hawthorn this year. Saul caught by Judd.
Both arms being held. Thanks, Brent.
Well, they've really held sway in the midfield too. I mean, that's been one of Carlton's real strengths.
Jacobs over the top. Saul, Mitchell, hands and knees. Carazzo, Birchall did really well. He got it forward. Franklin and Jamison. Jamison with him. Franklin, well played. Brilliant buddy, not quite. He's so dangerous.
Well, Halpin's now gone back to, after that, just one possession in the first half, and Thornton's gone forward. They've got 3 tools in their forward line, Cruiser, Thornton, and also Henderson. So they're just trying a completely different way of setting up their forward line. Carlton, it was in disarray in the first half. Their forwards, their small forwards, didn't work.
Nothing straightforward about that last effort from Buddy. I think he was trying to impress the Russian judge. They let the ball run on and then being held by the arm, probably a bit stiff not to get a free kick, trying to go with the outside of the boot. Judd is taking his kick again in the back pocket, goes short to Russell. Joseph is on, decides to ignore that and go longer. Well, he's gone very long over the head of Jamison. Leading back is Rioli. Wonderful awareness, just gave it off in one motion. Murphy's kicked back inside the 50. Joseph, half chance. Quick hands from Osborne, taken by Burgoyne. Touched off the boot. Erratic bounce coming up. Well, third man in the queue got it. Scotland got the hand pass from Murphy. Now he's in trouble. Upended Mitchell. Osborne once more. Bounces obligingly for Armfield, though. He smashes it out of there towards the boundary. Hooper can't control it.
And once again, great pressure again, that time from some of their midfielders, but Carlton just can't escape. They can't get to where they want to be so that they can set up their game from half back.
So much of this match has been played in the forward 50 for Hawthorn, hasn't it? I mean, inside their arc for long periods. Russell to Judd. Judd did well, he retrieved it. Scotland wasn't a great handball, he had to search back. 3 tackles on him, that's a good sign.
He's in trouble here.
You're just holding your arm up. You need to make an attempt.
Okay, here he goes. He's locked up there. No prior opportunity. Umpire was on the other side of that contest as well. I'm not quite sure what he could have done then.
That's the case he's pleading.
Come back with me, Dennis. That's it.
Just the handball. He had to search back for it, and he just a fraction. He wasn't on the burst. Well, Hooper, he's kicked 2. He kicked 2 against Melbourne early in the season. Well, that's a big miss. Just inexcusable, really. You've got to nail those. You become a really good player when you kick 3.
Carlton's had more of the ball, but most of those possessions have been really deep in their defensive half, where they've been trying to get themselves out of trouble as opposed to initiating play.
Russell, low trajectory kick. All it did was go very quickly to Guerra. With that last one on Scotland, I think the umpires do expect you to make an effort. He did have the arm free.
Thanks, Lance.
The old Charlie Watts rule. Just bang away. Convince them you're trying. Scotland to the outer side. Big leap out there from behind by Henderson. It goes out of bounds.
Well, once again, Hawthorn have actually pushed the numbers up, so you've got sort of the Clarko cluster working really well for them this afternoon, and they just can't get on their bike, the Blues. They just can't find any space.
Renoff backhands it down. Mitchell taken down. Over the top Carazzo. And the umpire decides he will ball it up this time. Richo?
Yeah, the Blues are obviously struggling to find an avenue to goal. Satanda hasn't really got near it today, so Brett Thornton's gone forward. Don't reckon he's played forward very much in his career, but anything's worth a try at this stage.
That's for sure. Judd from a terrific tap by Jacobs. Cruiser, he's a handy man forward. That height's going to be a problem. He was off the line, Cruiser, and then a bit of an up and under. Henderson at the back and took a good one.
Well, it's already worked. They've gone 3 tools. Thornton, Cruiser and Henderson. This is a great strong mark, isn't it? A contested mark. Now they need to finish. They got let off the hook at the other end by Hooper. They need to nail this.
We won't talk about defining careers right now. Let him just have a kick.
This is one to resurrect his career.
Well, they need it, and he's played pretty well, Henderson. That's a good goal. Well done. I think I'm right in saying he's played pretty well, don't you? I feel like he's been a bit of a target, don't you?
I think he's been good, yeah. No, I think he's been really good. That's a really strong mark there by Cruiser. Judd's been really busy in the early part of this third quarter too. He's already had six disposals, Judd.
You mentioned
strong
Charlie.
mark coming from deep behind that pack. That's just height over the top of Campbell Brown.
He's taken some good marks today, Henderson. You'd almost try and discourage him from leading. Looks far more comfortable jumping. He's got a good vertical leap and good hands. So's this man, Sewell. Gives it away. Hodge flicks it over the shoulder. Lewis took a while to find it. Goes to Birchall. Birchall, terrible kick. Wanders inside the 50. Trying to punch away from behind O'Halpin. Peterson, can he keep it in? No.
Interesting in that article you referred to earlier about O'Halpin and the fact that everyone around him felt that he was a natural forward and not a defender. So he's got a big job ahead of him in the second half now, and Jared Roughead.
Yeah, hope you didn't read the article. Tossed it on the 50. Cruiser in front. Judd knocked it as far as Hodge. Standing his ground, Scotland now throw an arm at it. He threw a boot at it. Carazzo, Judd, twisting, turning, in trouble, taken down, out of bounds.
Gee, I reckon if you said what's impressed you about Hawthorn today, tackling would be number 1.
Their pressure has been outstanding.
Cruiser worked to the front. Gibbs, Guerra, well done. Murphy, Lewis, gee, good awareness now. Burgoyne, normally a good kick. That is a good kick. It gives Buddy a chance. He's taken a beauty. He's silky, Sean Burgoyne, isn't he?
He's an elite midfielder, and that was really good play then by Hawthorn to work that play out of the congestion so that they could get the ball in the hands of somebody who could actually deliver it, and it was just a long, penetrating, deep kick.
So Franklin's kick 3. Oh, he's missed it. So Hooper and Franklin have missed sitters in this quarter. And if Carlton get the next goal, things could get interesting. I know the scoreboard's a long way apart, but they're big misses.
Interesting too, umpire Wynn, just you can see him in the background there, was down on one knee tying up his bootlace. Dangerous place to do it, I'd suggest, after yesterday. 71-29, Simpson, short one, Russell. Just seems for the moment though, Carlton right out of ideas. Jamison drives it to the opposite pocket. The mark is taken by Anderson. Anderson plays on. Hugs the boundary line. Now Betts with a chance. Pushed his man under the ball. Goes short. Murphy's got it. Jacobs is on. Goes to Jacobs. Cruising past is Yaron. Yaron though has to go with the outside of the boot. Danawoods full forward. Gee, he's got wonderful courage, Campbell Brown. Eyes only for the footy. Wonderful concentration, because that wasn't easy. He was oblivious to everything but the football. Kick comes out. Simpson gets on the end of it.
Are they mounting a challenge here, Carlton? You just feel like they might. They're a long way back.
It's an important 5 minutes of this game.
Robinson, who kicked a goal in the first half. Not sure if he can go all the way here.
I reckon he can just do the distance, Robinson, from here.
Runs out to try and get that distance. He struck it well. Good judge, Tim. And suddenly the Blues get a little bit of momentum.
Here's the Hawks just not quite being able to hit that spot. Simpson, this is a really smart kick from him too. The Hawks had numbers really deep, and you thought that maybe he was going to try and go to those contests. And a smart forward will find space in and around that zone. And I reckon this guy can really play. He plays with so much enthusiasm too. It's infectious.
First time this afternoon, he's got 2 goals. The first time this afternoon, Carlton have kicked back-to-back goals. A couple of bad blues, if you like, by the Hawks. 10-11, 5-5. Still a very tall mountain to climb for Carlton. Knocked down by Skipper, who goes after the ball. At the base of that is Sewell. On top of him is Judd.
Walk away, Mitch.
Richo.
Yeah, it looks like Johnson and White are both gone for the day. They've both been sitting at the back of the bench there and they haven't moved. 2 rotations down with a 1.25 to go. This is really going to test Carlton's resolve and belief now.
See if they can get closer. It spills wide. Trying to soccer it off the ground is Simpson. Standing his ground, Mitchell. Judd stole the ball away. Rolls back towards Mitchell. Going to ground was Robinson. Rioli came clattering through. Robinson did well. Fought it 3 times there and won the final ball. Armfield to Simpson. Goes out wide. Henderson's got it. Betts wants it. That's not a good kick though. Close to the boundary line. And well played by the young West Australian. Stratton able to just knock it across the boundary. Too easy for him.
So those interchanges is a good point Richo makes. It's going to be a key, isn't it? Whether Hawthorn's big worry has been running games out, but Carlton 2 men down for about 3/4 here.
But I think the other thing coming into this game, there are a number of Hawthorn players that probably haven't had the conditioning that they would like. So it could still be a factor in the latter stages of this game, but down 2 interchanges at this early stage, and it's been for most of the first half as well, is a critical factor against Carlton.
The continuity's been the big problem for the Hawks this year. Burgoyne held up, Judd crashing through and missing. To the other thing, I know they're a long way in front. They've got a lot to lose, Hawthorn, today. I mean, they've got the season basically to lose if they don't hang on from here. It'll be interesting if they're 3 or 4 in front in the last quarter, just how nervy they might get. In a way, Carlton have not got so much to lose from this position in this match. So Murphy, this is the pivotal match, you reckon, for Hawthorn in this season so far. Win today, and suddenly they're sort of back in business. Franklin, terrific.
Wonderful mark. Hits the ground running. Has a bounce. Confronted by Judd, who took him on. The hand pass, though, found Whitecross. Comes to Ellis. Ellis, well, it's like shooting fish in a fish market. He could have chosen about 3 or 4 there. Perhaps that wasn't the best option. He put the ball high to Peterson, and as a result, Carlton able to force a draw, or maybe better, holding the ball.
As soon as you dive in on the ball, Dennis, you're in real trouble, the modern interpretation of that rule.
Especially when you're a big fella like Renoff. Not many concessions. Joseph, little chip, just gets there in time for Carazzo. Plays on to Gibbs, in trouble. Still Gibbs going. Did he have prior opportunity? Yes, he did. He thought about Judd. That's a good call by the umpire. He thought about Judd, then reeled it back in. Here's Young, the high ball downwards, full forward. Franklin, well, he could have almost got a free kick there. He didn't get one. Jamison comes away. Now at the other end, Carlton really with a chance. Garlett goes long to Henderson. Loves this spot. He's dangerous behind his man. Well, Buddy has reason, I think, to be a little disconsolate.
Here it is again.
About 180 metres away. Well, maybe not.
No, not much in that.
She was a good kick by Carlton.
It had some depth on it, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, Henderson is becoming a key to this third quarter. The Franklin hooper misses at the other end. Carlton have kicked consecutive goals. Can they make it 3 here? It's coming back. Henderson's kicked 2 of those 3.
I think that's the first time this afternoon we've seen them rebound so cleanly as what they did just then too. There's Jamison. It's a great kick to the out space there that Garlett's created. Gets in behind the Hawthorn players have pushed up the ground, and then there's that space over the back again. But you called it beautifully, Bruce. That was a really good, deep, penetrating kick there by Garlett. He's been good, this fella.
So they're coming, the Blues. The former president will be happy with that. So 5 goals the margin now. Maybe doable. Free kick.
Let him up. Straight to him. Thanks, Clint.
Feel like there's a big wave coming, don't you? And Hawthorn are going to stay firm. Murphy long. Cruiser, not quite this time. Thornton handball over the top. And Henderson's the man. He's kicked 3. The Blues have kicked 4. And yes, they're coming.
That's 6 inside 50s this quarter for Carlton for 4 goals. They're the best of the competition at scoring once inside 50. They go at about 35%. We haven't seen that in the first half of football. But once you start winning the ball, see, there's a benefit of having a big bloke down there that you can aim the ball at. He drew 2 defenders, which meant that Henderson then had nobody on him at ground level. And there's a real feeling that has gone around this ground in the last 5 or 10 minutes.
4 goals in the last 10 minutes for the Blues, and his side is being challenged. Still a handy lead, but momentum has shifted. Knocked down by Jacobs. Mitchell went to ground. Goes again, does Mitchell. Robinson's been good. Wrestles in front on. Knock it out was the call. Not sure he could knock it out when he was standing up, but regardless, Robinson's got the free kick. And he goes back with spring in his step. The aggression rising with the Blues. Kicks inside the forward 50. Bounces off the face of Thornton. Down in front, Burgoyne. He went to ground. Judd moves on to tackle the next man. Murphy to Gillam. Loops a hand pass over the top. Uncharacteristic fumble from Osborne. Upended as he kicked. Peterson got hands to it. In goes Mitchell. Mitchell over the football, came out the back. Hodge, who's been pretty quiet since quarter time, throws it on the boot, bounces down towards half forward. It's a foot race back. Opportunity though for the last man in the group, taken by Russell. Well done by Hodge, although perhaps at the last moment could have marked it. He was oblivious to that though. He knew Russell was behind him. He just wanted it out of bounds.
Just think of your theory, Dennis, when you're 2 men down, you like that, don't you?
I don't mind it at all.
Mitchell. Held up.
Getting Robinson into the midfield's been important to them too, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. When Hooper kicked the point, they were 47 points in front, Hawthorn. They would have been 52 had he kicked the goal. Jacobs, Hodge and Murphy. Hodge tunnelled it as a throw. So little things adding up to big things right now.
Whoa!
Gee, Robinson down. Murphy's long ball. Cruiser a target. Simpson went without it. White cross. Left foot. Pretty good kick, actually. Gave Osborne a half a chance. Rioli thinks his way through it. Gives Ruffy every opportunity. It was a brilliant kick. For not the first time today. That soft kick of Rioli working.
Going back in from here?
Well, I want to know from Richo, where's the little bloke? Is he in the head or not? He needs to kick this again.
Well, he kicked his last one. He kicked the last one, so yeah, I reckon he's pretty confident now. He'll kick through it too because it's from 50. Further out you are, the less he talks to you, the little fella.
Just saw Robinson going down the line play too. Might get another look at that.
Huge kick. So they can't buy a goal. Hooper, Franklin, Ruffhead. Seems like bad things come in threes as well.
On the ground.
So
This is that. Now Robinson just left the ground. There it is. I think it was Renouf that actually ran past him and collected him at the time in the solar plexus.
that's a real grey area as the ball goes towards the outer side. Thornton was up. Thornton battles after it in the opposite direction, tunnelling his way. I would predict, and I can't see him, I think that's Brown.
It's come out and been knocked back in.
He's like the gopher in Caddyshack. He was just moving. We've got a ball up Dunwood's right half forward. Carrazzo heads for the line. It goes out of bounds. Now, the thing is, and I've got to ask you again, Tim, because there are areas in our game I just don't understand. I mean, before the game, they're allowed to do what they like to each other. And then how do you police that then within the game? I mean, if you cruise past and just give him one when he's not looking. Mitchell, anyway, after the boundary throw in, chopped off by Anderson. Kicks to midfield. Awkward half volley. Henderson did well, kept it in front. Now there's an opportunity for Garlett. Garlett feeds it back nicely. Taken by Murphy. Gee, he's been industrious in this turn. Betts in position. Oh! Betts is marked 20 metres out. Carlton storming at Hawthorn.
And their pace has become a real factor in this third quarter. The long kick on a number of occasions when they've burnt the shorter option. Obviously, that's been part of what they spoke about at halftime too.
So Betts should kick it. Oh dear. Wow. That is huge.
Well, when you've done nothing all day, you need to slot those, don't you? That doesn't do your confidence much good. Skipper and Renouf the targets. Renouf got up high. Well done. Now Saul. And that lovely kick, that way to wonder Hooper. Hooper taking O'Halpin on. He's got Peterson inside. It's a good kick, actually. He's given Ruffhead every opportunity, and he was nearly going to go.
He was. That wasn't just momentum. He was off.
Good kick. Beautiful kick. Oh. They've done that well, Hawthorn, haven't they? Into that forward 50.
It bounced up beautifully then to Ryan Hooper. There he's off, look.
Well, we've talked so much about Ruffhead and his inability to nail these.
It's
another metre,
above
please.
the shoulders now, though, isn't it? His problem with his goal kicking.
Well, this is a massive kick for him personally, but in the context of this match and maybe Hawthorn's season. He's got it. So he's got his second, and they get a little bit of breathing space again.
How critical was that miss from Betts now? Look at the other end of the ground. They just had the numbers. Once, I mean, a side at a kick in now, a side presses up a full ground sort of zone that they're trying to apply. So once you can actually kick your way through that, and that's what Hawthorn have been very good at in the past, their ability to actually kick their way through a zone. And then once they got over the top, that last line of players, they had so much space to operate in.
Billy Betts misses at one end. Jared Ruffhead gets the goal at the other. A tale of two halves, so to speak, at opposite ends of the ground. But out of the middle, not to be denied, Carlton come again. Simpson lobs it inside the forward 50. Nobody touched the ball initially. Thornton to Betts. That was much harder. He missed. Trying to make amends. Ball comes in very quickly from Guerra. It's with Lewis now, who's had a pretty quiet afternoon, coming up for, well, I'm surprised, coming up for his 17th possession. He drives it towards our broadcast side. In front, Scotland takes the mark.
Going board to Judd.
Cyril, right there.
Saw Judd talking to the players just before on half time before they went to the rooms. So Judd goes with a high ball, and front spot was Hodge, Ellis and Simpson. Simpson's had a good third term, as he did last week against Port. Judd coming through. Just had one of those days, Chris Juddy. It's not quite happening. He's imposing himself. He's getting more of the ball in this quarter as he did in the first. But
he's had 10 touches this this third quarter, so he's been busy.
He had 11 in the first two, Tim, but not much is real clean at the moment, is there? Oh, Scotland does it again.
Yes, he's having a good game too, Scotland. Not for lack of trying. 65 metres out. Gets onto this one, down towards full forward. Henderson hands to it, spills behind with the outside of the boot. Robinson couldn't move it. Headed for the line there was Brown. Now, I'm not sure that wasn't, well, it's a push in the back, doesn't matter. I think he saw the post and decided that was the lesser of two evils and deliberately ran into it. That is cagey family thinking. It's passed down from one generation to the other. It didn't matter, though. They got the free. Family haven't always got a lot of free kicks. There's Mitchell. Left half back. And the son off the Rialto is a bit of a problem. Mitchell drives it towards the wing. Knocked away from Renoff and out of bounds. But Carlton, despite what happened, continue to come. I'm talking about that miss.
This is what he did. I think you're right too. He was heading for the point post. Ben's just getting a little bit too high. Hawthorn just need to take a little bit of steam out of this game, control the ball for a couple of minutes.
Peterson. Mitchell couldn't quite. You'd think the Hawks would take this lead. If you could blow the siren now, they'd be happy enough with this lead at three-quarter time.
It's really just the best way. You just got to try and monopolise the ball for a couple of minutes just to take the intensity out of the game.
Oh.
No free to Cruiser. Saul overran it. Garlett's had an interesting third term. He's been important. Anderson held up. So very different looking forward line for the Blues from what we've seen over the last 5 weeks. They've gone tall. No, Halpin hasn't been that key tall. Saul had it smothered. Well done, Simpson. But only as far as Brown.
Really smart play then by Hawthorn. They actually dropped one player out of the stoppage, so they went to that last stoppage one player short against Carlton, just making sure that they had that player in that defensive post then, should it be a quick kick out.
Feel like they're milking that clock a bit here, Hawthorn, don't you? So Burgoyne's careful kick.
Just over 2 minutes till three-quarter time. Cruiser reaches from behind the pack and knocks it out of bounds.
They've gone into slow tempo, Hawthorn. They're quite comfortable with the lead that they're going to take into three-quarter time. The Judge just coming back into this game now after a couple of minutes break too.
The margin was 39 at half-time, so Carlton have made some inroads here. Judd slaps it out of the congestion. Robinson liked his game. Goes towards half-forward. Birchall, great defence. Robinson comes again in full flight. Gives it across to Scotland. Scotland goes down towards full forward. Working at the back was Betts. Henderson could have been held. He dives on top of the footy. Dragged off it by Gillam. Oh, holding the ball.
You can't dive on the roll on your back.
I just like that interpretation.
Burgoyne. Players a little slow to pick up on the fact if you are nabbed, you better try and get rid of it.
But they are trying to get rid of it. The guy jumps on top of them and holds the ball in. I mean, surely we still should be rewarding the bloke that actually goes for the ball.
Hang on, Tim. You're asking for support from the guy who was unsupported with that deliberate behind. You didn't, you know, we didn't hang fat.
Move it on.
Play it on its merits, Dennis. Jacobs back to the 50. Henderson, who's been such a target in this quarter. Gillam. Well, here's another look, boys.
He goes to win the ball.
Sitting on the top.
Blokes jump on top of him. Hodge jumps on his middle. I mean, how is he supposed to get rid of that ball?
Got to try and hit it with his hands, Tim.
Well, don't try and get the ball in the first place.
Well, the umpire said you just put your arms out, try and punch it out. Some of the umpires.
Jacobs, Burgoyne, clever kick actually, kept it low and got some distance.
So they've been good Hawthorn, haven't they? The last 3.5 minutes, they've milked the clock effectively and just slowed the pace of this game right down.
But you feel like Carlton's in the match. It's a long way back, I know, but halfway through this quarter, you felt like they were gone. Murphy It's a good tap by Jacobs.
No prior, I'll have it.
Brett Bratton down from his elevated vantage point. And we've got a ball up. Right at the interchange gates. 27 points the margin. Carlton have been very good this quarter. Jacobs hammers it towards the boundary line. Judd. The clock is their enemy now. 41 seconds. Simpson, well, he breaks it wide open. Thornton's got the football. Carrazzo now, they're running everywhere. Carrazzo will square the ball. We're down to 30. Jamison, remember Friday night in Collingwood. There's the ball in short to Robinson. 23 seconds. Robinson being encouraged to kick it high. Does that towards full forward. Oh, help him! He played on! Oh, he played on. It's a behind. Oh, Satanta.
Oh, he did too. Just lacks a feel for this game at critical stages still, Satanta.
Why would you play on a metre out in the goal square? Nothing to be gained.
Oh, man, I fell. No, that's not help.
Probably because you grew up playing hurling, Dennis.
You think so?
I think that would be a key component of it.
Okay. Well, if you're planning an AFL career, don't hurl. 11-12 to 7-10, three-quarter time at Sunday football.
So the O'Halpin mistake very late in that quarter.
Yeah, well, he clearly he played on. Here he is saying to the umpire, I didn't play on, but clearly he took the couple of steps in, and at that stage of the game, you just got to have more feel for the situation.
That one goal would have meant so much. It's still 26 points. It's still doable. Remember that Hawthorn have not won a last quarter this year. They don't have to do that to win today, but they have the noose slightly tightened. They were 47 points in front. And there's a winning feeling about this team at the moment. They did it against Port last week. They were 18 points down late in the third quarter and got home. And down to you, Richo. We just feel like this game's still alive, and Buddy might need some heroics again in the last quarter to get Hawthorn home.
Yeah, there's been some really good signs today in Lance Franklin's game, and one of them has been his marking. Watching him earlier in the year, he was getting tangled up with his opponents too much. He wasn't using his height. But watching him today on 2 or 3 occasions, he's been making contact with his opponent, but then releasing and jumping at the ball and using his height. That's a great sign for him. When he's doing this, I believe he plays his best footy. So really positives for Lance. Hopefully he can do it in the last quarter. If he does, I think the Hawks will get home.
Three-quarter time here. It's Hawthorn by 26 over Carlton, 11-12 to 7-10.
So the man who energised his team coming off the ground at half-time and then led by example in the third quarter. Hasn't been a pristine day for him by hand or by foot, but again the endeavour and the leadership has been terrific. Hodge, who started so well, drifted out of the game. He's up to 20 possessions. I think he had 11 at quarter time. So they've still got more, I think, to play for, as Bruce said, Hawthorn, but whether they can find the wherewithal in this final term.
Gibbs has gone forward too, Dennis, for this last quarter, or is it? That is Gibson.
They've really tossed the side around this afternoon. Final term at Etihad Stadium on Sunday football. Cruiser and Renoff. Renoff up very high, spills wide of the centre circles. Arriving quickly was Henderson, and he was pushed in the back. He'll get the free kick.
Sorry, Dennis, I love the way he's attacked the ball all afternoon, Henderson.
This has been his best match for Carlton. Kicks it down towards half forward. Flying from behind. O'Halpin got a fist on it. Knocked it down. Garlett hit the post. The base of the post on the bounce. He is very good, so opportunistic. And when he gets the ball in that situation, it's so quickly onto the boot. And his sense of direction is wonderful.
O'Halpin then was really important too, the way that he actually went for the ball in the air and just made sure that it didn't go over the back, it went to the front.
So Guerra, he's got the numbers. Stratton did well. Good start to his career. Franklin the front spot. So Yaron, Betts, Garlett, O'Halpin, not a goal between them today so far.
And that is a real surprise given the way that they have been playing, Carlton. But they've loaded up their forward line for this early stages of this last quarter.
I feel like the clearances will be so important. If Judd can impose himself in this final term, he's won a lot of the ball today.
Carlton have worked their way back in front in the clearances, 33-21 at three-quarter time. So that's an area that they're now on top of. They're now on top of Hawthorn. They'll need to maintain that in this last quarter.
They've had the last 4 scoring shots, Carlton, but they've all been behind.
All hands on it there.
They've done a really good job too, Carlton, of restricting the influence of Sammy Mitchell. He's only had 15 touches this afternoon.
Was that Carazzo again, who'd done the job on Dal Santo here on the Monday night game, hadn't he?
It was Carazzo early.
Had a tough week, Sam, too. Spills wide of the pack once more. Judd a half chance. Ball with Mitchell. Judd takes him down, so the rival captains, both number 5, get involved. This is really take no prisoners football at the moment. Clear takeaway from here to either side, very important. Gibbs gives them that, although Guerra gets back and takes the mark. It's 50. Oh dear. In his enthusiasm, he took a couple of steps forward. And there's been some critical mistakes by Carlton in the wash-up since half-time. Told to play on, gives it across to Young, who can kick it a long way, but not with his right-footed. Wanders downwards, full forward. Punched away down there by Anderson. Scotland didn't take it cleanly. Roughhead tackled by Scotland, close to the boundary line. Birchall hand passes back inside. Hodge lines up on goal. Oh, what a beautiful goal! Magnificent.
I could be very mischievous here and say that's a captain's goal, couldn't I? But that's not fair to Sam Mitchell. But that was just a beautiful kick, wasn't it?
It was. That's a 50-metre penalty there, and Roughhead just hitting the ball really hard. And the Hawks here, here's a really intelligent handball from Birchall. Just got it back out to Hodge. And they weren't able to nail them late in that third quarter, but that is just a terrific now gap that they have in this game. 31 points. You'd expect that to be a match-winning lead now from this stage of the game. Also, critically, Carlton still haven't got those 2 interchange players. They're down the 2 interchange players.
Beautiful finish and a 5-goal margin again. So Hodge, big start to the game, quite a third quarter, makes an impact at the start of the final term. Lewis got a high tackle.
Jordan Lewis.
High tackle. Called out his own.
Just number 50.
Wasn't straight back to him, up in the air. How's this, boys?
Well, this is killing Carlton now, those 2 50s. Garlick in his enthusiasm running over the mark. I think it was Carazzo, I'm not sure, who just threw the ball back. And they're little by degrees, aren't they? I mean, they're just very strict interpretations now. Can another left footer put another nail in the coffin? Well, Lewis has. So Lewis and Hodge, you reckon, have got Hawthorn over the line here with those 2 goals?
Well, the strict Scotland, wasn't it? No, Carazzo, you're right.
There's Carazzo. No, just I'm not sure that he intended that the ball be thrown back in that fashion. He actually got a little bit of spin, sideways spin on the ball, and it didn't go back as cleanly, as quickly as what he probably hoped. But there was too much elevation, according to the umpire. They are critical decisions, though, aren't they, that we've seen the last couple of minutes of this game, in the context of this game.
You can imagine walking into Princes Park next week and there will be a training drill, just throwing it back to the bloke. Oh, they kill you. 13-12, 7-11. Cruiser still enthusiastic, comes hard. Well done though by Renoff. Won it down. Hodge touched off the boot. Floats inside the forward 50. Franklin was up. Stolen away by Russell. Russell's high ball barely outside the 50. Robinson's been terrific. Taken down strongly that time by Osborne, who's been equally good. He's had his moments this afternoon, Osborne, and they started early. Robinson comes up limping. He's booted 3 goals today, and I think has made a statement this afternoon that perhaps he should be a regular fixture in this team.
Peterson, third man up. Simpson and Judge both had... oh, gee, copped on there, Simpson.
Hi, let him up. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away.
Got a real whack there. Not sure if it was unintentional or not, but right on the snout. Back to Russell, back to Joseph. Let's see how daring the Blues can be here. Scotland.
Now, Campbell. Right there. Wait.
Had a lot of the footy today, Scotland. Long kick to centre wing. 1-on-1, Thornton. Well done by Birchall. Lewis. Little handball was clever. And then Murphy's taken them on here. Peterson to Birchall to Ellis. Ellis released. Cute kick, good kick. Finds Brown.
Brown about 85 metres from goal, spots the leading target. And Franklin's got it in a very interesting position for him. The left footer will have to give away the goals with this kick if he is to score a goal, and provided he wants to kick at goal. Richard, what do you think?
I've been pretty good with the predictions today. I think I'm right in saying he likes these ones with his left foot to the boundary line, so I'll say yes, Dennis.
Adelaide fans will remember this spot. Runs to the 50, and he's nailed it. He has nailed it. Lance Franklin. 4 goals this afternoon, and the game now is Hawthorn's. 14-12 to 7-11.
When I get the best bets on Friday, I'm going to give it to Richer. Can you mark the book, Richer?
That was a fluke guess, I reckon. I've been on today, though.
No, you've been outstanding today. This is a good double lead here by Buddy too. Took Jamison deep and then came back out to the space. And he does love a little bit of left to right action.
Well, it was a magnificent kick, and Richo picked it. He's been in such good form today, and so's Buddy. It's a lot of shots on goal, and that was the sweetest of them all.
Well, he might be back. I reckon the Hawks are back too after this performance.
Well, it'll make a lot of teams that are either just in the 8 or just out a bit nervous, won't it, Hawthorn?
Well, they didn't come into this game with a lot of confidence. They just got over the line against Richmond last weekend. A win like this is going to help them build confidence. Every department of their football was criticised or scrutinised during the week, so there's been plenty of heat on them.
Well, Bateman's going to come back in the next week or two. He'll make a difference with pace. And they're going to be with Burgoyne there and Saul and Mitchell in the centre. They haven't had those players all year in terms of having them together. So maybe some good things. And if you look at who they're playing in the next month, there's a big opportunity for them. Good mark by Stratton. They've got a good draw coming up, you'd think. A winnable month ahead of them.
Please. Thank you.
They made their intentions today clear right from the start.
Right there.
Ellis. High ball to centre wing. Franklin and Jamison up the ground a bit. Jamison hasn't been that far up the ground for a long time. Mitchell terrific to Burgoyne.
Burgoyne keeps it low. Skipper comes up, takes the mark, jams it down the line. White cross. Just pops it up, but that's a wayward kick. It's out of bounds on the full. Renoff was storming back towards goal, but that kick did him no favours. Interesting because before the game we're all chatting about the likelihood of an upset. So they're almost favourites in the commentary box, I think, before the game, Hawthorn. Does that tell us more about what we think of Hawthorn at their best? Or perhaps do we have lingering doubts about Carlton? Here's Judd. Carlton's form has been terrific in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And that man who kicks the ball along the outer side has been the catalyst. Loose ball at the back, taken by Guerra. Very casual with it. What's the umpire say? Throw it in. So boundary throw in outer side. 43 points the margin.
You can sometimes read too much into tackles and their effect on a game, but their season high was 75 in round 1. Hawthorn, they're 72 already, and that has been an area of their concentration in this game.
And here's the point. I mean, Judd trying to burst through. Saul and Burgoyne put the tackle on. Mitchell gets the kick away. Young's been pretty important, but it well held up. And then Anderson with a long bomb inside 50. Betts, still Betts. Well done, Stratton. Birchall, Guerra, Gillam sweeps it. They've been good at the back. And now Hodge. Going back to York and Burgoyne, who's been very important, Burgoyne. Rioli's had a quiet one, but he's had some moments, as he always does. And then Rioli inside the 50, Roughhead at the back, made a contest. Armfield tries to release Robinson. Robinson under pressure, back to Jamison, back to Gibbs, and then back to Scotland. And now Murphy. I'm dying to get back to Dennis's earlier point. I reckon the key is Carlton had 5 terrific weeks, and unless you're Geelong or St Kilda last year, it's tough to have 6 terrific weeks in the AFL. It's too much pressure.
That's right.
And that's what I think we were thinking of before the game.
Sewell says something about our lingering respect, though, doesn't it? Oh, that's a good catch by Osborne. More the catch than the mark. The hands there very early, and the ball just lobbing in.
On paper, they looked as good as they've looked all year, though, the Hawks, coming into this game.
Osborne goes for distance. Roughhead's in front. Could have been held there. Doesn't matter. Over the top comes Skipper. Wade Skipper. Now, he's not the worst kick at goal in the world. I think he's got a 6 to his credit for the Western Bulldogs.
Well, Richo's the man.
Ah, yes. Well, we'll check. I'm not sure he's an expert on Skipper, but he's a left footer like Buddy, so maybe you'll have a feel for it, Richo, because he really is on track today. Richo, yes or no?
I'll go no this time.
Oh, Richo, you've won the car.
I might take up gambling.
I'll send David Schwartz down to you immediately to talk you out of that idea.
He's been effective today, Richo. Perhaps that little bloke that was in his head for 15 years is still there giving him the answers. So, I want to ask Richo one other question before we finish. Is this the beginning of something for Hawthorn this year? Can they make a run? Lewis?
Well, there've definitely been some great signs today, and Franklin, Hodge in the middle, and just, you know, some of the key components that won them the premiership have just started to come back a little bit today. So it could be the start.
Gee, I wanted you to think about it for a minute, Richo. You came in quick. Gibbs.
I've been sort of thinking about it all day, Bruce. And it's just in the forefront of my mind.
Back to Gibbs. Now Jamison.
Eventually, weight of numbers tells the story. They work it across their back line, but that was untidy from Thornton, grabbed by Roughhead, who missed the easy ones, kicks the impossible goal.
Well, that's a win for the press here from Hawthorn. They had their 18-man press, the zone. Carlton just had no space to operate in, and in the end they were forced to turn the ball over. And Jared Roughhead, who's had his moments with his goal kicking this afternoon, that is just a magnificent snap. It's a great feeling, even though the game might be over, when you can just join in and get an easy one like that.
So 3 to Roughhead, 3 to Franklin. Importantly, a couple, I think, to Osborne and Hooper as well. First time they kicked 100 points since the Melbourne game in round 1. So Hawthorn, who most people had in their top 6 at the start of the year, probably even higher for some, will get their 3rd win, and with a couple of other teams losing around the competition this weekend above them.
Well, we came here early in the season. We saw them play against the Bulldogs. They lost a couple of soldiers that afternoon, Hawthorn, and then they dropped off towards the end of the game. But I still think that's one of the most brutal games of football I've seen this year. And they were well in it until they got the injuries.
So Carazzo to Simpson, and Simpson gets onto the left, and Hodge just sweats on that.
Right there.
So it's been a blue day for Carlton for sure, but they've had a terrific 5-week stretch. Renouf. But within that 5-week stretch that has been so good with the wins over Geelong, St Kilda, and the 2 wins in Adelaide, they lost to Collingwood by 53, and they're 51 behind Hawthorn at the moment. Big fly by Peterson. So when you get them, you can get them down. Scotland hasn't stopped trying. Nobody stopped trying, but he hadn't stopped getting the ball. Gets it to Garlett. Just nothing from those amigos and from Satanta O'Halpin. Scotland just didn't time it. It's a tight old kick. It's a behind.
I think the jury's still out on those small forwards as well. I mean, it was tailor-made against St Kilda that night. The tactics were as important as the pace and what they were, but I mean, they haven't broken other games open to the same extent. So I still think that in the hurly-burly of finals football, you wonder about this forward line.
And Eddie bets no goals last week. So he's suddenly out of form a bit, isn't he?
I reckon they've had two really strong performances. The other time was against Geelong at the MCG as well. Where they've been controlled, though, is they haven't been able to get that run from half back today. Hawthorn have been fantastic. They started that way. They were great with their forward pressure. And for those forwards to really, play an important role, it depends upon the game being played fast for Carlton and the ball moving into their forward line quickly.
Osborne kicks beyond the wing. In front, skipper. Lurking at the back is Simpson. Just a little jab across to Scotland. Scotland, the sweeping hand pass to Robinson. Robinson, awkward hand pass for a teammate, Armfield. Murphy gave it to skipper. Now it's with Mitchell. Mitchell off the side of the boot. Jamieson goes up. Not much pressure there from Buddy. Jamieson just brushes past him, kicks inside the forward 50. Stratton did well over the top. Henderson, probably the brightest light to come out of this afternoon. Cruiser got it from Betts, kicks it down towards full forward. Birchall 3 on 1. But there was a telling third quarter. Carlton, when they look back on that, will think what might have been. They were their own worst enemy.
Thanks, Jeff.
Here's Brown. Just chips it back to Guerra. 8 minutes out from full time.
I reckon one of the most important things for Hawthorn this afternoon too has been the form of Sean Burgoyne. 20 touches, 5 marks, 2 inside 50s, 4 clearances, 8 contested possession, and that's a great sign for them.
Good play by Lewis. Just used the body cleverly. Releases Osborne, and then Osborne's kick couldn't get to Franklin Jamieson. He was second up today too. Sometimes that's hard, isn't it? After the hard first match for Burgoyne. So he had 20 in his first match. He's had 20 again today.
And it's a better 20 he had today than what he had in his first game, though.
Normally his 20s are good too. He doesn't need 30.
And you get you get Bateman back into this side as well. You've got another really quality elite midfielder.
Lewis cut off by Anderson. Hooper. Anderson belting forward. He was the late inclusion for Houlihan. Robinson, Cruiser, Robinson, and then Robinson with a long high ball inside the 50. But Hawthorn players everywhere. Betts is quick. Guerra belts it over the line.
That's a really poor kick then from Robinson. He had to lower his eyes and just try and pick one of the players who were congregated around centre half forward with that kick just to maintain possession of the ball. But he's been really good this afternoon, Robinson.
Skipper arrives, nudges Cruiser out of it. Ellis feeds it back. Sewell, Mitchell uses Sewell as a decoy, runs through midfield. Thumping kick down towards half forward. Franklin outmanoeuvred again by Jamieson, having some good moments in the last few. Pushes the ball out of bounds under pressure.
Carlton have pushed their numbers back too. I reckon Ratton's just trying to conserve some percentage. See Hawthorn's matches to come. All of them winnable.
Yeah, it's a good month for them, isn't it? I mean, real potential there. They'll need, you'd reckon, 3 out of 4 wins there to have a chance of playing finals footy. Sort of team you'd like in the finals, aren't they? Because they're dangerous.
Oh, their best, I think, we've seen them play against Geelong this year as well, and they pushed the Cats all the way too. Their best is as good as anyone's.
Ellis to Burgoyne to Mitchell, and then Mitchell's kick inside the 50. Gibson, Hooper, Jamieson to Scotland, and Scotland just searching for the right option. He didn't have one. It's like a brick wall's come up at the moment, and Saul's got hold of it.
Move it on.
Well, one thing's for certain, is the best feeling that's going to be in the Hawthorn change room after this match that they've had all year. Joseph Samble back to Simpson, gang tackle. We've seen so much of that from the Hawks. Little give was good from Robinson. Now on the burst, Murphy And Murphy's kick set Henderson a task here. Well done by Stratton, but he had the advantages. Back to Guerra, and then Guerra to Roughhead.
It's been a mixed bag when they've gone forward. Invariably, they've put the ball higher to the small men and wide of the tall men. As Roughhead goes back inside the defensive 50, Stratton's got it. To Guerra. Just under 6 minutes.
Just wonder how Sam Mitchell was affected by that column that appeared in the paper in the last 24 hours too, Dennis. Like, he's been a reasonably subdued performer this afternoon. That type of criticism from outside the football club and inside the football club in a way too, with Dermot Brereton joining in the chorus in the last 24 hours about saying that Hodge would be a better captain than Sam Mitchell, has to sting a player.
No doubt about that. There's Gillum on the outer side, the premiership captain to boot. Not many of those going around. Held was Franklin. Well, that had to be a free kick, surely. Franklin goes after it. Russell. Rodney Eade, very outspoken yesterday about the yardstick that's applied to Barry Hall in terms of free kicks. Some of the big names don't always get them. Here's Judd. He's away. Got it from Cruiser. Judd spots a vacant square. Goes long, hoping for a bounce. But he's wide of the mark. His kicking hasn't been spot on today. And this ball, after a battle between Garlett and Guerra, goes out of bounds.
So we looked at Hawthorn's matches to come. Here are the Blues. They've got West Coast here next week, and then Melbourne, North and Fremantle. Suddenly that docker looks different than it did at the start of the season, didn't it?
Yes.
It's a good docker.
He's got teeth now.
Oh. So Burgoyne to Peterson from Mitchell originally. Roughhead. Thornton, well played, Roughhead. They've got 7 from Roughhead and Franklin between them. Mitchell back to Burgoyne and then back to Mitchell. Now Mitchell can see Franklin moving and he goes on the left and gives him a 50-50 and Buddy turns it into a win. No, it's a free kick against him, isn't it?
Oh,
it'll be 50 now.
I'm interested to hear from Richo on this one about this battle of strength between two opponents now. Here they are, Richo, Jamison, Buddy pushing. I think there's a distinct push in the back with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like he had one hand in the back, but one thing you like to see is two big guys testing their strength in a marking contest, and I just feel like it's gone a little bit too far. I know most people here are disappointed in that decision, and everyone loves to see two big guys going for it in the air. So
Richo, when you first saw that, did you think it was a free kick or not just then?
My initial reaction was it was a mark, but when you have a look at the replay, there was one hand in the back. I thought it was more on the side, but yeah, I'd like to see them play a few of them.
Here's Rioli.
I think the sticking point with that is perhaps Buddy doesn't get them going the other way. There he is, leading back in the race anyway, and the ball goes out of bounds. Still a wry smile after a good afternoon's work. Just talking about those games coming up, I think the one you look for is the Tiger, Bruce. I think you just look for the Tiger and sort of think that's pretty good news. I think Tigers around the world are planning a class action. There goes Franklin, and he answers his critics with a wonderful goal.
Does he get the votes today? I mean, who's best on the ground? He's kicked 5 goals, 4.
I think you have to give the 3 votes to Buddy this afternoon. He's been the best player on the ground. It's been a really even performance from Hawthorn. I think Hodge has been really strong, or he went out of the game a little bit there for a period as well. But I think Buddy is way back in form. 5 goals, 4 this afternoon. I think conversely, Carlton's had a couple of good players too in Simpson and also Scotland.
Yeah, well, I think Buddy did deserve that goal. It's a little bit of justice after the one before. Definitely best on ground for mine. But, Dan, can you ease up on this Tiger thing, please?
Sorry, Richard. I didn't know you were listening.
He normally does it when you speak.
That's right.
Rennes to half forward. Armfield. We haven't seen much of that Armfield dash today. Well, Murphy didn't take it. Peterson. Interesting player, Peterson. And then Carazzo. Garlett's quick handball forward. Cruiser and Murphy, a couple of those #1 draft picks working hard. Saul.
Move it out.
Trouble in.
Yep,
Hold the
gone.
ball. You dragged it back in, Brad. Dragged it in, mate. Let him up, let him up. Thanks,
So
Mark.
Murphy's free kick. What do you think of Peterson, Richo? I mean, you saw him down at Richmond a couple of years ago, the kick wide. Can he make an impact, do you think, Peterson?
I think he can. I think he's been outstanding for Hawthorn this year. When he was at Richmond, he had all the tools, he had all the ability, a great leap and all the skills, but he was just a bit immature and he needed to go back home and actually work out whether he wanted to play AFL footy, and the Hawks are getting the benefit out of it now.
So Carazzo forward as Franklin goes to the bench.
Against you, Brett. White cross. Carlton free kick. Sorry.
Here it is, downfield free kick, not against you.
Pick him up. I've got this.
So Jacobs will get the free kick.
Out.
About 20 metres out from goal.
Elbow in straight in the guts.
Seen him kick a couple of goals, I think, recently from set shots. And that's nice. That's a lovely kick. So the margin is 50 points.
Forced his way into the side, Jacobs. I think he's good, and I think he's been good this afternoon. He's taken a number of contested marks. He works the ground really well. There's a lot to like about him, actually.
Kept Warnock out, hasn't he?
No, there's a lot to like about him and his development. He's a big, strong sort of a kid. Hasn't been their worst player this afternoon.
That's for sure. So 50 points and big changes, and that interchange. I mean, Carlton down to 20 players for much of this match. Judd getting another clearance from the centre. Halpin's just had a miserable old day, hasn't he? He had a couple of chances and tried to do the team thing early on, it didn't work, and then tried to play on the second time and it didn't work. So Judd got it from O'Halpin, and back it goes to Gibbs. He started the day on Franklin, but he wasn't on him for long. Joseph to Judd, working in tight quarters, had to retreat back to Thornton. Hawthorn fans like that. Carazzo.
Just wanted two with those interchange, 155. I mean, that's on world record pace. That I just wonder whether that influenced Hawthorn in the coach's box this afternoon when they saw that Carlton were 2 men down early in that first half.
Crank them up even more, you reckon? Russell. It's a bit like the swimsuits in swimming. It's sort of the world records for interchange. You sort of forget about them now, don't you? They're just too many.
You do. There's the kick inside the forward 50. Well, interchange had nothing to do with the mistakes Carlton made in the third quarter. They really undid some terrific work. Comes across to Ellis. Ellis to Renoff. Smothered off the boot. It was a good pickup there by Peterson. Went to ground, unfortunately for him. Cruiser to Betts. Betts runs to the 50, a centering kick. They're virtually impotent down there. Stratton took the mark, just lobs it across to Hodge. Now, they've got a long man coming out. Brown's done the hard work, taking the mark now. They're running free on the outer side. Whitecross has got it. Carlton have done well to get across and close them down. Lewis was the free man. Joseph ran hard. And despite the fact Lewis has got the ball, suddenly they're manned up around the outer side wing. Apart from him. Birchall. Dying seconds of this one then. Birchall on the outer side wing. And does this herald the return of the real Hawks?
Clarified, protected.
Rioli just pops it onto the boot back to Peterson. Hasn't seen a lot of football this afternoon.
Please, Carl.
Peterson takes something off the kick, right on the siren. Resounding victory. 2 old mates, Hodge and Judd. Not much to say, really. He said it all this afternoon at various times when it really needed something. Lance Franklin made the big statement. Hawthorn 16-14, Carlton 8-12. Let's go down to Matthew Richardson.
Buddy, great win by the Hawks today. Vintage form.
Yeah, it's definitely, we've been down on form all year, so to come out and beat Carlton, they've been in great form, and come out and have a good win, it builds our confidence up, and just look forward to winning some more games. It's been a tough year so far, but to the boys' credit, we've got some good players back, and we fought hard and we got a good win today. It was really good.
Mate, and right from the start today, you looked up and about, your confidence was high, you were moving around, your marking, you had some real authority with it today.
Yeah, definitely. This year my marking probably hasn't been as good as the previous years, but I've been working hard on it at training, and today it's came off. But the boys' credit, it was just fought really hard to get the win, and it was just great.
And the boots, mate, they're doing a bit. I love them.
Yeah, Indigenous round. A guy from Sydney created them and wore them today, and we got over the line, which is good.
They did the trick, mate. Well done.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Good stuff, Richo, with Buddy, who
He is a supreme talent, isn't he? I mean, he gave us one of the greatest individual years of all time. And people said, well, he wasn't the reason they won the premiership. Sure, he wasn't. There were other factors. I mean, Hodge was wonderful too, but really, you rarely see individual seasons like the one he gave us in a premiership year.
He set such high standards too, didn't he? I mean, it's been hard to live up to those standards.
He's been fine this year. I mean, his form hasn't been that bad.
No, you're right, and I reckon his form's going to improve if they can keep Sewell, Lewis, Hodge, Burgoyne, Bateman comes back into the side, Mitchell and Rioli in the midfield. You just wonder how many opportunities he's going to get from here on in for the rest of the season.
Here's Richo.
Hodgie, that was just a committed effort from start to finish today.
Yeah, well, about time. Well, look, we've had a frustrating year, and just Carlton are a great side. We really had to pull it together this week, and it was just good to see the spirit of the boys.
Now, a bit of press about the club during the week. Did that galvanise the group?
Look, you don't really listen to the press. We know we've had a disappointing year to date, and it's up to us how we want to turn it around, and we thought today was the best way to show.
3 Brownlow votes jump in today, do you think?
Yeah, Frankie should get the 3. Look very good up forward.
I reckon you got the 2 then. Cheers, mate.
He wants to do everything, Richo, doesn't he?
Well, I think the next bloke he should search for is Sam Mitchell. Don't you? Right of reply.
They were good, the Hawks. You do feel like it could be the start of something, don't you? Let's hope so.
Oh, no, that's going to be great for the competition if they get on a roll, the Hawks.
So, final scores here on Sunday Football. It was Hawthorn over Carlton by 50, 110 to 60.
This has been a Fox Sports presentation.